Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Indaba Africa. I hope for those who were able to tune in yesterday to our special feature on land and poverty in South Africa that you found it interesting. I have to say that very wonderful turnout on that show yesterday. We had over 1,200 people view it while we were on the air for just under 3 hours, and then we had a total of 994 viewing within 1 hour, which is, I think, almost a record for my stream, if not close to a record. A little bit larger, perhaps, with Big Daddy Liberty. And then in the end, the stream so far has had 2,400 viewers. That's just 200 behind Big Daddy Liberty from last week. So, wow. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Buy a donkey to the folks in South Africa and Namibia, Botswana who tuned in to watch the callow. Thank you very much for watching it. It was a wonderful stream. Really enjoyed the guests who tuned in and are called in. Thank you so much for being part of it. Wherever you find yourself in the world on this Friday, July 3rd, 2020, just one day short of our Independence Day here in the United States. July 4th, tomorrow is Independence Day, the day we declared our independence from the United Kingdom on the 4th of July, 1776. And we will celebrate it tomorrow. I'm sure the insurrectionists, the malcontents, the unhappy will be out doing something, but tomorrow is the day that we celebrate. Despite COVID-19, we will celebrate our Independence Day on July 4th, 2020, here in the United States. The first of the many countries to break away from the United Kingdom. We love you, UK. Still our best friend, despite what Barack Hussein Obama claimed. The special relationship is there. It remains strong. The bonds are there. But we did leave first. You got even. You burned the White House. We remember. You burned the White House. But we were there for you, and you were there for us. Anyway, so Independence Day is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, here in the United States. Today is the third day of the Battle of Gettysburg, which took place in 1863 from the 1st to 3rd of July in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. A mere 30 kilometers south in that direction from where I live took place. Two massive armies, one from the Confederate States of America, the Army of Northern Virginia under General Robert E. Lee, and the Army of the Potomac. And we have a new member of the site, Stella Mons. Well, thank you so much for becoming a member. That's awesome. There goes the zombie climbing the Mahalicesburg. Stella Mons becomes a member. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you joining. That takes us to 60 and reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, I need to mention that 60 members of the Indaba Africa channel. So let me just get to that, and I'll mention the most recent members here. If you give me just a moment, I had to reboot my browser because it was playing funny games with me. There we go. So memberships, refresh that page, excuse me, and let's see what we've got here. So that takes us to 61 members. 61. Marius just joined. It hasn't shown up yet. Did you? There it is. It's coming. Okay. Well, look at that. What's going on today? Why? Marius Crew Comp has become a member of Chris White Africa. Thank you so much, Marius. Thank both of you. A salute to both Stella and to Marius for becoming members. That takes us to 61 members. Wow. Guys, this is really awesome. Folks joining, becoming part of the community and committed to it. Let's see. 61 members now. The most recent members are Marius Krukkamp and Stella Mons from today. And yesterday, Reese van der Walt joined. And How to YouTube also joined yesterday. So thank you in line. The most recent member before that was Get You Online Lynn. Lynn joined 3 days ago. Then How to YouTube yesterday. Reese van der Walt yesterday, Stella Mons and Marius Krukkamp today, taking us to 61 members of the channel. Thank you so much. And as far as subscribers, we are now at the level of 4,162. Thank you to all 4,162 of you. Whether you enjoy, well, I hope you enjoy the stream and the videos, but whether you agree or not, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with people having different views, and I'm happy to have different views on my channel. Now, my stream is looking kind of fuzzy. I hope it's not, there it goes. I was going to say, I hope it's not fuzzy for you guys. Right, so welcome to the team. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a member of Chris White Africa and you would like to be included in the WhatsApp members only group, you need to send me a message to my email address, which you'll find on the About tab, and give me the number that you would prefer. Some people have more than one mobile, or they have a preferred number. So if you'd like to be part of that group in which people share things, then you're welcome to, but you need to send me that number, and I have to have your permission. I'm not just going to put people in the group. When I started it, I put a couple people in the group because I knew they would be okay with it. But from here on out, I'm only going to put people in if they want to be in it. It's not automatic. So I don't want to invade somebody's privacy by passing along your phone number in a WhatsApp group. You don't want other people to know your private number. So if you have a number and you're a member, one of those 61 people who are members, please let me know, and I'll be happy to add you to the group. Just send me an email message. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's talk about what's going on. Say hello to folks here in the chat who we've got. Okay, so let me get back to the beginning. Marius was here from the outset. Then Sloat apparently appears to be freezing. I'm sorry to see that you're freezing, Sloat. Linda van Rooyen, good evening. Tian VJ, hey people. Nigel's here. Matthew Finlayson, hello Matthew. TJ Van Heerden. Luke, the lead slinger. I saw Luke on Roman earlier. I was out exercising, melting and boiling in the sun. Even my favorite spot in the park that's over in the shade on one side of the park where there's trees from people's property that overhang, even that was in the sun at the time I was out. It's still morning, so the sun was hitting at an oblique angle, and I got cooked most of the time. And Linda's in Kimberly freezing. Welcome. Stella, thank you for becoming a member. Wayne ZA, hello from Cape Town. Not Connecticut, but Cape Town. Flip Duplessis, hello. Good to see you there. Let's see who else. Clinton McConnell, excuse me. Missed the Afrikaans days on TV. Used to be every second day. Nigel, so can we expect a roasted chicken? That says roosted, not roasted. A roosted chicken making a session tonight. You want a roosted chicken? Just perch somewhere, or a roasted chicken. Nigel, come on. Linda Kriesel, good to see you. Linda, Sky Greg T. Sky Greg T's got a crab. I love that. I've got to get that as a custom emoji. I'm from Maryland originally, and steamed crabs is our thing. I spend so much money on steamed crabs when I can. Wow, I would kill to get some steamed crabs right now. Love crabs. Love that crab right there. Gareth says, you don't live in Durban to hate the humidity. New Orleans and Orlando are great. Yeah, no, I got you. And I couldn't live in Durban. Nice place to visit, but only in the wintertime for me. Lezan is in Nelson Mandela Bay. Oh, sorry that you're sleep deprived. Acid Zill, good to see you. Gareth was in D.C. on the 4th of July. It was amazing. Obviously not this year, unless this is a comment from a future that's come back in time. Somehow you've bended time and space with a wormhole or something, but you've meant you were there on the 4th of July. Absolutely. What do you do to celebrate? Well, Luke, the lead slinger, what I typically do is I may have a braai, do a cookout. I might do that tomorrow if it's not too brutally hot, but I'll wait till the evening to do it. And then people will fireworks. I've gone to Baltimore to watch the fireworks. I've been to New York City to watch the fireworks. I've been to D.C. to watch the fireworks. I've been at Fort Meade when I was stationed at Fort Meade to watch the fireworks. And here I don't have to go anywhere because people fire fireworks all around communities, and I can see them from miles away as long as it's not raining. And it's usually clear on the 4th of July. Gareth says, don't hate on the Brits. They were just cold. It was peaceful protest. Yeah. Not hating on the Brits. It's just saying that we broke away first. Love the Brits. It's a special relationship. All right. Heinrich Becca, hello. You guys are fun. Breezy Hill, welcome. Okay. Anthony, good to see you there. Hendo, cold and windy in UK today. Okay, good to know. Daryl Crouch, greetings from SA. Rudy, hello. Johan, hey, Johan is here. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of which, Johan Eisel is in the chat listening to this stream right now. Johan and I were talking a short while ago. We've got some special things coming up on Chris Wide Africa, and I have to thank Johan for helping with that. So I mentioned in passing that I would have a guest on coming up soon, and some of you may know her from a video that went viral not all that long ago, a couple years ago. And it's, I won't say the word, begins with an F. I'll use a couple asterisks. F, my Marlaise, if you know what I'm talking about. This young lady who was riding her bicycle and ran into a rugby post, which apparently they're not for bicycles running into. That's not the purpose of a rugby post. But she became kind of famous because of that viral video. It's a short one. She'll be my guest coming up on Tuesday this coming week at 9 p.m. in South Africa and in Botswana. And so that would be 3 p.m. here on the East Coast. It'll be a special feature. She's currently in the Netherlands, where she's working as an au pair. We'll have her on. We'll talk about that experience and what it was like to suddenly become instantly famous as a consequence of a viral video. One that didn't put her in the best of lights. But we'll talk about that. She's my special guest on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, 9 p.m. in Botswana and in South Africa, and 3 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. So Marlaise will be my guest. So look for that. That's coming up soon. In addition to that, we're working on next Friday having Giselle back on the program. That's the program I've been promising now for about 2 weeks, in which we will have a conversation with Giselle. Well, we're going to have to send Johan off with El Jose for a little bit so Giselle can talk to the crowd. Just teasing Johan. But we'll have Giselle on, and we're going to play some of the music from her new album, Fit Ons Mensa, the same album that debuted right here on Chris Wide Africa back on the 8th of May. And we'll talk to Giselle about those songs, inspiration for it, what she was thinking, how she came up with the lyrics and the melody, that sort of thing. And we're going to do this to celebrate the fact that all of her songs from Fitland's Mensa are now currently available across digital platforms. So obviously we want people to know about her music. So we're going to have that this coming Friday, so a week from today, and that will be the usual time, which would be 5 p.m. in South Africa. And so that'll be 11 o'clock here on the East Coast of the U.S. So that'll be a special feature with Giselle this coming Friday. And don't forget that tomorrow, Major General Johan Josta will be my guest here on Chris White Africa. General Josta and I will be talking about wildlife conservation and issues like that. But remember that he is a long-serving South African who started as an infantry officer in the South African Defense Force, later served in the combined South African National Defense Force, retired as a two-star general, went into the private sector, worked there for some time, traveling the world, later went to work for the South African National Parks and worked for them for several years before he went on to work for a non-government organization in association with the Park Service. So we're going to be talking about those issues with Major General Johan Josta tomorrow, a South African through and through. I think you'll find him an interesting person to listen to. It's tomorrow right here on Chris White Africa, 11 Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. in South Africa and in Botswana, 4 p.m. in Namibia, London, and Abuja. So that'll be tomorrow. So tomorrow and then Monday, I didn't mention Monday. Monday, I will have on a local artist who is from Johannesburg, and he goes by the name Dax, D-A-X-X. And Dax is a South African/Zimbabwean. His mother's from Bulawayo, his father's from South Africa. And he was a panel beater for 18 years or so, and he had a talent for art, so he started painting after people encouraged him. And we're going to talk to him about being an artist in the midst of the lockdown, what impact it's had on his income. It's been not good. I'll leave it at that for now. But Dax will be my guest on Monday, and he'll be in a studio, an art studio, with a colleague where they're trying to promote some art. And we'll have that on Monday evening. That'll be a special feature. So that should be interesting as well. That'll be also Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard, and it will be 5 p.m. in Botswana and South Africa. So that's Monday, Dax. Tomorrow, General Josta. Monday, Dax. Tuesday, Marlies. Friday, Giselle. And I may have some other streams coming up, but that's the near term who's coming up on the program, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. I am. So let's see. Jake is in Parle. Okay, Jake, and it's cold there too. So I'm getting pretty consistent story here that it's cold. Oh, he didn't say it's cold in Parle, but it's cold across there. You should try South African Indian crab curry. I've had lots of curries in South Africa, but not crab. Gareth, the brew. Hey, brew. Poor animals, fireworks. Okay. Corlia Fundameva. Waka, 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 waka. This time for Africa, right? you get a European South American singing a song about Africa for the World Cup. There you go. That just shows you how the World Cup went in South Africa. Joe Emilio, how are you? Did you see my video about woke culture? I don't recall. If I did, I'm sure I would remember it. I watched a couple of your videos. Marlene has got no driving skills. Hendo, guess what? Marlene has no driving skills. She also has had more trouble with bicycles. So we'll talk about that on the program as well when she gets on here. Good to see you, Joe. Don't think I have seen it. No, it's not a 4-hour stream. We're just starting early because the space was open by and large, and I have other things to do. So I want to get some more exercise in tonight after that flaming hot ball of gas in the sun. No, not Cyril Ramaphosa, but the sun. That flaming hot ball of gas from above. Not the president of any particular republic, but actually the sun. It's a bit bright and it's oppressive out there. So I want to get some more exercise. I only got about 6 kilometers in earlier, so I need to make up for that later. Right. Let's see what else we got here. Joe. Okay. No drunks tonight, Uncle. Well, yes, Brew. Yes, I got some feedback about Brew's drinking the other night. So not necessarily from people on the channel, but other folks who watch it after the facts. Brett, what are some of the atrocities committed by Kwame Nkrumah? I don't recall saying that Kwame Nkrumah committed any atrocities. Did I say that, Brett? Or did you infer that? No, Kwame Nkrumah became corrupt and a bit of a tyrant. And his army itself couldn't tolerate it any longer, and so they overthrew him eventually. And a lot of people are unhappy with what happened in the country during his time once he became the leader of an independent Ghana. Why is Ghana becoming known as the heart of Africa, the best example of what an African nation should be? Many African Americans relocated to Ghana. Oh, okay. Well, Brett, I'll only talk about that in just a second. Can you put a link up to Colonel Blake's Autobiography, West Pointer with the Boers from your second stream. That wasn't my stream. Who's Colonel Blake? I didn't have that person on Sky Greg T. So Brett, let me get back to Brett's question while the streams come through here. Okay, so Brett, so the question was the heart of Africa. I don't know why people are claiming that Ghana is not known as the heart of Africa. There are a lot of people promoting Ghana now, and it's because Ghana's got some clever leadership. They had the year of the return, in which they famously, in a marketing ploy, called Ghana the year of return, and for those of the African diaspora to come back and visit Ghana. Never mind that none of these people know whether they came from Ghana or not, and I'm not criticizing it. That's not the point. It was a good marketing plan, and that's what it was about. So that kind of contributed to this. But Ghana is not exactly a country that has a entirely successful past. It's had enough coups in the past, not the least of which was Kwame Nkrumah being deposed and had to flee the country, and also later Jerry Rawlings overthrowing the government. So it's not been without a checkered history. Ghana's bright days are only 2 decades old, ladies and gentlemen. It's only been in the last 2 decades that this has been going on that Ghana's been on the right path. But despite being on the right path, they also face some challenges. Now, what's interesting, Brett, is that when I've been in Ghana, especially the first few times I went to Ghana, I found it fascinating that a lot of Ghanaians would chuckle their heads at African Americans. And let me explain what I mean. Now, not all African Americans are like this, but there is a number of African Americans who go to Ghana and they're Americans and they don't realize that they are Americans. And they're stereotypical Americans in that they're loud, they're demanding, they're arrogant, and they feel entitled to things. Those are stereotypes of Americans. There's some truth to them for some Americans, but this is how many Black Americans behave in Ghana. And as a consequence, a lot of Black Ghanaians do not care for Americans. I have more than many conversations with many Ghanaians who said they much prefer my company because I appreciate them, I'm respectful of them, and I'm kind of like one of them. I just kind of hang out and we do things and mutual respect. Whereas with a lot of Black Americans, there's this sense of entitlement and behavior. Now, I'm not denigrating Black Americans who live in Ghana. I'm just saying this is a reality. And a lot of Black Americans are ignorant of it. They're unaware of it. But it is interesting. And it is definitely something that is present in Africa. See, the problem we have, ladies and gentlemen, you have a lot of people who seem to think that just because you look a certain way or I look a certain way, that means you're automatically in or you have something in common with a group of people who look the same as you. Swedes look like me, but I don't speak Swedish. And while I have Swedish ancestors, we're talking about 1,200 years ago, not recently. So while I have some things in common with Sweden, there are some things that they do that are quite strange to me. And there's no automatic affinity there. So it's interesting that people make that assumption. Jason Reddick is here. Hey, Jason, did you catch what I said? Where's Giselle? Giselle will be here on Friday, Jason. But if you'd like to chat, Johan is in the stream if you want to send him a note. So you're welcome to do that. Let me catch up over here. And so that's so as far as Ghana being the new heart of Africa, I don't agree with that. Ghana is a great place for opportunity to go these days. And it's a great place to invest your money in some respects. It's also a wonderful place. Ghana, culture in Ghana is really amazing, whether it's the Ashanti or other groups in Ghana. Very welcoming people. Fantastic music scene in Ghana. Lots of things going on. The country is making a lot of progress in no small measure because of gold and also because of the discovery of oil in the Jubilee field and subsequent discoveries. All of that is greasing the economy as well as the government has been borrowing money. So yeah, Ghana is an interesting place. Yeah, but I wouldn't call it the heart of Africa, not by a long shot. If anything, Nigeria is far more the heart of Africa than Ghana is. Ghana is, 20, 30 million people, whatever the figure is these days. It's much larger than it was a few years ago. And Nigeria is 200 million. Let's see. Bruce says, I wonder if your members know what the 4th of July actually means for you. I'm not sure. If people got questions about the 4th of July, ask. I'll be happy to answer it. Sky will be back in a moment. Okay, you're probably back by now. Join me. Okay. Wait, what? Who commented on my behavior? The brew. Persons undisclosed. Names that shall not be revealed. Invisible Ray says, hello, old chaps, anti-Americans. Okay. Garrett says, some truth. Did you hear marriage officers? Huh? Same-sex marriages. I don't know what you're talking about, marriage officers. You're talking about justice as the peace. And it would have to depend where you're talking about. If you're talking about in South Africa, you're talking about in the United States. In South Africa, that sort of thing is permissible under your constitution. Here, it's not a guaranteed right under the constitution, and each state handles it differently. Um, oh, you've just got electricity in the in Pretoria North. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Rolling brownouts, load shedding. Raptorman says, I mean, keyboard warriors like myself typing with fury won't accomplish anything. In my opinion, the only way to stop our pathetic government is to get away from our computers and take action. Brett Sessoms, are intertribal marriages common in Africa? Seen the interracial marriage is mostly accepted over there, but never intertribal marriages from what I've seen. No, actually, they're quite common, actually, Brett. Depends on what you're talking about. So in South Africa is one good case. You see lots of people. In fact, the gentleman I'm going to have on Monday on the program, the artist Dax, he's from Ndebele and Swati. His father is a Swati from South Africa. His mother is an Ndebele from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. So he is and I asked him, how do you describe yourself? Because that's a fair question. He is a Swati Ndebele. So there you go. It is very common in much of Africa. In West Africa, I see it as well, too. The old boundaries have between groups and tribes have kind of been eroded in many respects, in no small measure owing to urbanization. As people are brought into urban centers together, kids interact, and those differences become less important amongst younger generation, who are the ones who tend to get married. So that's true in some places, but not everywhere. Excuse me. So Gareth says South Africa priests, they're allowed to turn down gay marriage on personal grounds, not anymore. Really, I didn't see that. Well, then I wouldn't marry anybody if someone's telling me to violate my religious tenets. That's not religious freedom. Invisible Ray says, is a white African republic possible? Well, my question back to you, Invisible Ray, is why would you want a white African republic? What's the point of that? Why would you want a white African republic? Sure, it's possible. Anything's possible. Chris, essays going back to hard lockdown. What do you think? I think it's insane, Jason. I think it's moronic, and I think that it's just obvious that politicians have no grasp on reality. The cases are increasing. More people are dying. Of course they are. That was always going to be the case. We don't have herd immunity yet because we locked everybody down instead of protecting the vulnerable and everyone else getting infected and then the virus dying off in the healthy community. Yeah, we didn't do the things that normally happen as a natural consequence of biological interaction on this planet. We disrupted that flow artificially, and now we're paying the consequences of it. But this was infinitely predictable. But you could shut this down forever unless the virus dies, which isn't going to happen because someone's always violating the curfew somewhere. People are always spreading it around. But unless you could keep people locked down everywhere forever, which you can't because people will starve, they'll run out of food within a matter of days, they'll be out of water and resources even less time, this was always going to propagate. Here in the United States, I see now I get a real kick out of, it's because Trump had a rally in Oklahoma. No, it's not. It's because the governors have lifted the sanctions, the lockdown. No, it's not. If the news was honest and looked at the actual requirements and advice given by medical experts and the states that have eased lockdown conditions, they'll find that they've allowed people to move about, but essentially they've kept all the other measures. Florida still advises people to wear masks. They still tell you to keep your distance. So that's not why the virus is propagating. The virus is propagating because we had hundreds of thousands of clowns running around cities without masks and within close contact, even with ridiculous masks that were ineffective, throwing Molotov cocktails, attacking police officers, raiding stores, stealing Nikes. That's why the virus is propagated. Look, folks, go back and watch my June 1st Stray Voltage, or June 2nd when it was. I think it was June 1st. And I said, guess what? You see this nonsense? Give it 10 to 14 days and watch the number of cases in this country begin to spike. And guess what? Strange. The massive spike that we're seeing now all took place within 10 days to 2 weeks after this nonsense started, and it continues. So yes, there's likely to be some people who spread the virus because there's been some easing of the lockdown. But even at this stage, with 125,000 deaths attributed to the virus in this country, we have 330 million people. 330 million people. And a few million people have been tested positive for the virus. Far fewer than influenza. This year, 35 million people suffered at least once from influenza. And we had 35,000 deaths from that, according to the CDC. All right, so... All right, catch up. Joe Mio, exclusive for you. I wrote my first article today, an opinion piece on cancel culture and on the woke and how they... Oh, okay, cool. Joe, would you like to come back on the program? Not this moment, but maybe it's time for you to come back. We'll get an update on your case. We'll talk about your article, and we'll talk about cancel culture. How about that? Joe Mio and I here on Chris Wyatt Africa talking about cancel culture. That should be an interesting one. Wait for people to read it. Okay. Brett says, the last time I checked, 91% of Ghanaians like the USA and over 80% of the Senate at least do. It seems like West Africa is pro. Brett, almost all of Africa is very pro-American. Even Somalis There's a reason people like Ilhan Omar wind up in America, and it's not because they had no other options. The United States is wildly popular in Africa. Listen, I've lived all over the continent, and I've worn my uniform all over the continent, and I've never been targeted because of that by anybody, even in countries where there's been terrorism. And I've had wonderful interactions with Africans across the board, especially when they find out you're American. And not just because they think you're wealthy or they can come to America. No, because most people, whether they like America for the right reasons or not, it's a different question. And that's a valid point. But overwhelmingly, America is very popular. Of course, the politicians will always say, but the Trump administration is not popular. Well, that's also overblown and a mistake, too. And it really doesn't matter whether the Trump administration or the Obama administration is popular. Administrations come and go, thank God. We don't have dictators for life, thank God, not yet. But America is overwhelmingly popular amongst Africans. Yep, absolutely true. My issue is that oftentimes they don't know why they like it because they have the wrong image because they get it from Hollywood. I'll come on once the article is published. Where's it being published at? You didn't tell me that. I thought you put it on your website. No, Garrett says they want your money. Don't take it personally. No. Anyway. That's why certain people approach it. But anyway, so there you go. So what I want to do today, speaking of woke culture and such, I thought I would play a few things and get you guys, we'll talk about a couple of these. And this is prompted because the National Football League has decided to play something called the Black Anthem. And suddenly in America, the media has magically started using uppercase for black to describe black Americans. Now, they were calling us racist for using the term black recently, and only suddenly now it's cool because it's part of Black Lives Matter. So you can say black Americans instead of always being forced to use the hyphenated Afro-Americans. But now it's okay. It's cool to say black again, but the media quickly realized that they need to use a capital letter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in interest of full disclosure, in the context of South Africa, when I talk about South Africans and I say white and black, I have always used capital letters. But that is in deference to the fact that these are identified ethnic groups in South Africa. Whites are not such a thing in America. Blacks are not such a thing in America. Afro-Americans, yes, you italicize that, but you don't italicize capital letters white and black in America. But in South Africa, when I say black, or I say white, or I say colored, or Indian, I always use capital letters. So before anyone tries to call me a hypocrite, because some people will do that. So, all right, let me see. I want to play this for you guys very quickly. Let me just make sure I can hear it. I don't want to miss this because sound's not working properly. Okay, so here we go. Right, I'm going to turn off the camera here for a second. We're going to play a couple videos and we'll get your reaction to these things. Okay.
Overall, South Korea has done 5 times more tests than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true.
That is true. And you said this morning that the White House said the U.S. passes South Korea in virus testing.
Who are you with?
Yahoo News. And it's not true per capita.
Do you want to respond to that? If you have the numbers.
To our Yahoo gentlemen, I just want to make it clear that South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000.
All right.
So,
Are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo, and nobody knows who that you are. Go ahead. Let's
Based
go.
on the numbers
Go ahead.
I've seen,
that's why nobody knows who you are, including me. Go ahead.
Overall, South Korea has done 5 times more tests than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true.
That is true. And you said this morning that...
Boom. Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about that? So there's Donald Trump setting them straight. Right there in a press conference, the journalist lies in front of the world and gets called on it because the people responsible for the data actually have the facts right there. Yet can't face the facts that he just intentionally lied to the world. See, this is why you can't trust the media. Now, let's be honest. Yahoo News is not a serious news organization. It's an aggregator of news. The fact that they have so-called journalists is almost comical, trying to make themselves into a news organization. But there you go. So that's Donald Trump. Boom, boom, boom. I absolutely love that. Are you going to apologize? Are you going to apologize? No, not going to apologize. Supposed to be a march on the 18th of July against farm attack in South Africa. Okay, that's interesting, Hendo. Please share information on that if you got it. Joe says he'll appear on my channel to talk about it. Excellent. All right, good deal. All right, so that's Donald Trump. Okay. Now, this one takes a couple minutes, so please be patient with me, but you're going to be entertained by this video. This is highly entertaining, so just be patient with me. Watch this, as this jackass tries to rob a store, and watch what this woman does and watch what happens. It lasts for about 2 minutes, so please be patient. I'll watch your chat, but we're going to listen to this one now. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. All right, this should be interesting.
Hey!
Open it now.
No, no, no.
Open it.
No.
No, open it.
Look at it. Yeah.
He didn't just shoot at the door. He shot at the door. I'm going to jail, bro. What a moron. Yeah, I was thinking about ricochets too. Please help me. I'm a victim. Help, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I'm sorry, please. Please. Go.
Please. I'm sorry.
Go, please. Please.
Peaceful protest.
On the ground. On the ground. On the ground. On the ground. All the way down.
Oh my goodness. How's that? That one's too funny, huh? Too funny. Too funny. Too funny. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That one's good. Yeah, this one's a little more disturbing. Lynn says, saw this video, brilliant action from these store ladies. Shamingly funny how the perpetrator acts when he's man down. Yeah, no, the ladies, she's like, open the register. She's like, no, let's go. And the woman has a child in a pram. Awesome, calm departure from the store. The thing about criminals, folks, is that they're usually not very bright. Case in point. Hilarious, was it not? That is just too funny. So I'm going to bring you another one here. Now, this one's a little more disturbing because this one, it's a short one. This is what's happening in D.C. Notice the anti-Semitic nonsense going on here. Anti-Semitic. Yes, Black Lives Matter, but apparently no one else's.
Israel, we know you! You murder children too! Israel, we know you! You murder children too! Israel, we know you! You murder children too! Alright, Black
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Anti-Semitism in full bloom in the nation's capital. That's right. It's not just Mayor de Blasio, who's an anti-Semite with his comments and his attacks on synagogues and Jewish faith, while he encourages idiots to run around the city and break violations. So break the curfew and break the lockdown. Let's see what else we got here. Let me catch up on the comments here. Daryl Couch, as at tonight, just for tonight, your death rate, of your infection rate, of your population. What death rate of 4.6? That's not possible. What are you talking about, Daryl? Death rate? How? Where? No place on the planet has a 4.61% death rate from COVID-19. Clearly, someone's interpreting data incorrectly. You can't take the number of deaths and divide it into the number of confirmed cases. That's not a realistic number. You have to take the number of people exposed to the virus who actually have it, which is an unknown number, so it's an estimation at best. So there's no way that it's 4.1% infection rate. Or are you? Wait, I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood what you're saying, Daryl. Are you saying 4.61% of South Africa's population has been infected? Okay. I think you're supporting my argument. I'm sorry, Daryl, if I misunderstood what you're saying there. Yeah, no, the authorities got this all over the place. They keep getting it wrong. Thank you, Daryl. My apologies if I misinterpreted. Yeah, ricochets. That was hilarious. What a bunch of nonsense. Vernon Naylager says the criminals are like that in South Africa. I've seen a grown man howl like an animal and getting caught. Oh yeah, it's something else. Go Old Testament on him. The world is being FedEx to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, well, speaking of FedEx, FedEx is going to withdraw its financial support for FedEx Field in Washington, D.C. And you know what I say? Fine. Piss off. Heck. Because the Washington Redskins, in a name that honors Native Americans, are being pressured yet again by a small minority of malcontents to change their name as part of woke culture. And I hope that Daniel Snyder holds firm on how he has done in the past in denying this nonsense for these folks. Absolutely nonsense. Yep, that needs to be dealt with in a serious fashion. I do hope that it is dealt with. Whoa, Brett Sessoms donated $10, $9.90 for Super Chat. Brett says the Chop Chaz area in Seattle is over. 2 African Americans were killed in that area. They were killed by those anarchists in the Chop area. Mayor Jenny Durkin did nothing until her home was threatened. That's absolutely true. Brett, thank you so much for the Super Chat. You are spot on with that, brother. And in fact, that is something that I said in my stream the other day. Or was it yesterday when it was? I think it was yesterday. When they went in, I showed the video of the police going back in and of the little pansies surrendering or running away from the police in the face of actual opposition rather than being allowed to act like little children throwing temper tantrums and destroying civil order. Yeah, no, Mayor Jenny Durkin is negligent in her responsibilities. Her number one job as a mayor is public safety. Number one job, public safety. Number one job, public safety. No question about it. She has failed in that. Whatever mechanism exists for the residents of Seattle to recall her or to throw her out of office, do it. And if whatever qualified immunity she has, go after her for whatever qualified immunity she does not have. She is responsible. She bears direct responsibility for the nonsense, the rapes, the murders, the lawlessness, the carnage, the damage, and the damage to America's reputation. I would like to sue her for the damage done to my nation's reputation by her negligence as mayor of the city of Seattle. That's right, negligence. And while we're in the discussion, let's put Governor Jay Inslee in the docket for his failure too. If the mayor failed in her task, he has authority over the entire state and has the Washington National Guard at his disposal as well as the state police. He too sat back and encouraged this idiocy. And now we have dead people, we have countless rapes, we have robberies, we have all sorts of things. So yes, thank you, Brett, for that super chat. Chop Chaz is done, toasted. And now that the federal government has arrested and charged 150 felons for their terrorizing of America and destroying monuments, that is starting to slow down as well. Long overdue. Let me see. Hendo says we'll be at Mount Rushmore on the 4th. Yeah, they're crying about that, as well as 2 Native Americans, not the rest of the 1 million Native Americans. Deonda Swart says Jacob Zoom now works for who? What? Why is Jacob Zoom working? He's in his 70s and he's got like a $40 million mansion to hang out in. Oh, thanks, Daryl. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Gareth, Vietnam. Gareth says 1 million in Vietnam equals 2,000. Huh? Is that tests per million Vietnam? Well, that's 20 times, right? 10 times is 20. Oh, it's 20. It's a lot more than that. Whatever it is, 50 times as many in the U.S. Because we're testing people. We have the resources. So how are you going to celebrate the 4th? Hey, Ina, I'm going to probably maybe have a little braai, relax. Might even have a beer, which I rarely do, or a bottle of wine. I hadn't thought about that. Garrett says U.S. cops are in donut shops, and the South African police are found in Shebeen. Okay. Amanda Barsby says, what if the ANC managed to trigger a race war in South Africa? Would they be able to declare a state of emergency? What would be the consequence of that? Well, the government can declare emergency if there's civil insurrection in the country, absolutely. The question is, can the African National Congress pursue this? That's the question. Nigel says, sorry to bring this up again, but I've posted this twice. I sent you an email to join WhatsApp group, not receiving a notification. Nigel, I received your email, and I've been busy since I received it, so I didn't do it. I will add you in there. My apologies for that. I will get you in there. So all of that is done by me manually. So my apologies, Nigel. I'll get you in there. I did get the message from you. I'll get that in there. Brett says, I have nothing against the people in Washington State, but what is scary is that Mayor Durkin and Governor Inslee were elected by the people. Yeah. What were they thinking? Well, they weren't thinking. That's why they elected these idiots. Okay, and Bradley says, Chop Chaz is, for example, work and what a useless ideology. All it is. Once they got what they wanted, they became everything that they were woke against. Yeah, no, there's a really good video that's flowing around online by I think he's Hispanic American, an immigrant who became a cop here. And he's sitting in his patrol car with his body armor on and his body cam. And he says, it's interesting because they're arguing and they're protesting to defund the police here. He didn't say where it is. So they want to defund the police, which is interesting. People are welcome to protest. But in order to hold their protest to defund the police, they called our police department and asked for law enforcement to protect them during their protest. Not seeing the irony of it, but he saw the irony of it. It's viral. It's all over the internet now. Slit says, what did you and family celebrate the 4th? That's a tough one, Slit, because I lived all over the country in different circumstances. I remember very vividly one 4th of July in Baltimore back in the 70s when I was a young child. My father, we went to Federal Hill, which overlooks the inner harbor of Baltimore from the south to the north. Fort McHenry would be slightly to the east of there. You can't see it from Federal Hill, but Federal Hill overlooks the inner harbor. And we sat there and watched the fireworks. Actually, did that again a few years ago myself. But so I remember that one very vividly. I remember a few other 4th of Julys, usually picnics, softball tournaments or baseball tournaments, stuff like that on the 4th of July. None of that, of course, will be happening. Although in the park, I did see some people, some families together having a little braai earlier today. So yeah, that's for me as a child, fireworks, but every state's different. Some states fireworks are illegal. Other states they're allowed, different types of fireworks. Here in Pennsylvania, they're legal. So people come to Pennsylvania to buy fireworks so they can light them themselves. Personally, I stay away from them because I don't trust the Chinese. That's where they all come from. I don't want to wind up, walking around like this, missing 2 fingers because I wanted to light a firework for the 4th of July, which does happen. The fuses being poorly manufactured. But yeah, so I've done lots of things. It just depends which year it was. Brett says, when I was in South Korea, I honored Belgian-Korean War veterans. Some of my black friends were disappointed because many of these soldiers saved Belgians in the Congo. Yeah, that's true, Brett. People always think of the Korean War as a conflict with the U.S. and North Korea. No, it was a global conflict. The United Nations was there. There were lots of Turks who were there, and they died. Australians were there. Others were there. Yeah, absolutely. And the Belgians, of course. No, you can't make this stuff up. Raptor Man will be stuck in his office. That's a Saturday. Okay. Well, I suppose it's worse. It could be no job, right? If a world war had to start today, what would be the two sides? Normal people like us and the woke left. Bradley Cook says, how does this year get written to the history books with all the crazy that's gone on? It was written truthfully. Yeah, it won't be written truthfully. If the idiots that are running things now write the textbooks, because they'll be dishonest. They'll lie about the facts and not tell the truth. If the truth is written about this year, what we'll discover is that a deadly virus was unleashed on the world through incompetence by a Chinese research facility and a cover-up by the Chinese Communist Party that allowed the virus to escape from Wuhan to the coastal cities of China and then spread by air with infected persons, Chinese, European, North American, and African, by flying out of China to the rest of the world. And that a political hoax occurred after that in which clueless, idiotic political leaders around the planet destroyed the social fabric of the world and the world's global economy, which was humming along for much of the world, grâce à the United States, whose economy was growing by leaps and bounds. And that will be the truth of the story, but that's not what we're going to see. We'll see something very different. We'll hear that Donald Trump caused the world to melt down because he invented a virus in the White House and, some nonsense like that. That's what we'll hear. Anyway, not the truth. Gareth says, I say jest, but he believes it will be a left or right war. Well, I say jest, but I'm not just entirely jest. Brett says, it seems like in 1961 that all Belgians in Congo seemed to be fair game. There seemed to be limited sorting out which Belgians. No, there was no sorting out. And it wasn't just Belgians. That's what's often lost, Brett, on the world, is that people think that, well, the Belgians, the whites, the Europeans were attacked, and they were, and brutalized, raped, murdered, beheaded. Women having bayoneted in their vaginas, really disgusting things happening. Limbs cut off, people in the eastern Congo and the Kivu being chopped up and stored in freezers to be eaten by cannibals. Just disgusting stuff that happened. But it wasn't just Europeans. The Congolese killed each other. They killed each other in far greater numbers. Just for what was expected to be a civilized conduct and handover of the country to black African nationalist rule turned into an utter disaster for Congolese and Europeans. And those who remember those days remember it all too well. I was going to say fondly, but they don't remember it fondly. Let's see. Okay, let me show you a couple more here. This one is, now you guys have probably seen this one, but this one I get a kick out of. This is about a minute long, and we're going to watch this and listen to this whiny stuff. Now, earlier on Roman's program, Roman said that the conservatives were getting into the cancel culture. I disagree. This woman lost her job not because of conservatives. She lost her job because she made terrorist threats. And those terrorist threats, not to mention racial slurs. Now, people get away with racial slurs all the time against white Americans. But she made racial slurs, and notice the slur that she invents here. I'd never heard it before, so maybe she didn't invent it, but I'll give her credit for inventing it, the vile word that she came up with. But she threatens people and threatens people's lives with violence. That's why she lost her job. And listen to the whining as she's lost her job.
The next person who has the sheer nerve, the sheer entitled caucasity to say all lives matter, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna stab you. And while you're struggling and bleeding out, I'm gonna show you my paper cut and say, my cut matters too.
I know this is what Trump supporters wanted, because standing up for Black Lives Matter put me in a place online to be seen by millions of people. The job that I had worked really hard to get and meant a lot to me just called me and fired me because I worked so hard to suck up. I don't know if everyone's seen, but it's been circulating a lot. My Black Lives Matter TikToks were picked up by conservatives and spread and shared, and people were demanding that I be fired, which I just got. My job that I worked really hard for.
Next.
My job that I worked really hard for. You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin. It's playing her a pity party. No empathy. She spread vile racial hatred and attacked 226 million Americans based on the color of their skin. She's not even black. She's Asian, I believe. She looks Asian. And she attacked 226 million people because she felt it was appropriate. And she made terrorist threats against people. And then people want to blame this on conservatives? No. She was fired by her company because of her actions. Actions have consequences. And the spoiled, impetulant, capricious behavior of these children who pretend en masse to be adults and run around behaving in this fashion, tearing down monuments, destroying private property, invading people's homes, and then, or trying to rob stores. There are consequences to your foul behavior. She incited violence. Now, if she had said something stupid like, what if I said this, that would have been different. But she said, I'm going to kill people is what she said. She went after them. Kung Fu Kenny, good to see you here. Brett, I fell behind on one of your comments there. Many Congolese hate that the Belgians did, but they don't believe the post-independence was any better. They can't relate 100% of ancestors' hatred. Yeah, well, their ancestors had good reason to hate Belgium, particularly King Leopold. No doubt about it. The Belgian rule, the private rule by the Belgian company under the king's control, wasn't a colony. It was his personal property, was beyond brutal. And then even as a Belgian colony, it wasn't a whole lot better. So they have a right to be angry with the Belgian crown. But lots of Belgians were perfectly fine and welcome in the Congo. They got along fine with their African neighbors. We talked to Erica, who was on the stream yesterday. She called in during the program. And she knew Moises Chombe's family. She played with his daughter. They were friends. The only reason Erica's alive today is because Chombe helped get them out on the last train to get Europeans out of the Katanga when it all went to crap. Now, her father had to get out later, so he didn't travel with them. Fortunately, he survived. But yeah, no, it's just the Belgian rule on the part of some people were simply just brutal. Brutal. It's just unfortunate. But what happened to whites and Congolese in the Congo is not acceptable. No level of brutality permits or allows or authorizes people to be brutal on the other side. It's just wrong. Boo-hoo, it's not my fault. I agree. She got what she deserved. Yes, yes. Well, she'll be made famous now because people are playing her video and some idiot will hire her. Brett Sessom says the current Afro-Asia solidarity movement is nothing more than a Marxist government. Go read the writings of Fred Ho, and it's nothing more than praise of Marxism. Yeah, no, it's other nonsense. Look, I watched the Chinese for the better part of 20 years in Africa have these conversations, which they thought were in private with Africans. But Africans didn't buy it, so they would share it with me. So the Chinese diplomats would approach the Africans and say, listen, we're brown like you. We were invaded and colonized by white European racists too. We get it. We should work together because we're just like you. Really. This would be the government that imprisons Uyghurs for their religion. This would be the government that illegally occupies the homeland of the Dalai Lama. Yeah. this would be the government that has oppressed tens of millions, that killed 20 to 30 million ethnic Chinese during the Cultural Revolution. Yeah, I think Africans that know history and understand the Chinese Communist Party hear this and go, well, thank you very much. You're going to build that dam for us? Appreciate it. Sec. Yeah, this Afro-Asia solidarity is nonsense. People are welcome to have solidarity, but simply having solidarity because your skin is a particular hue is lunacy. It's absolute stupidity. Stupidity. Her behavior is very synonymous with the current Afro-Asia solidarity movement. One of their key figures, Yuri Meyer, Osama bin Laden. The world has gone mad, Robert. The African-American, Asian American communities need to understand that trust each other more, but the current Afro-Asian movement is a cult following Mao Zedong and his nonsense. I agree. Corlelia. I like that, Corlelia. Okay, so we've seen her. Now I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, something inspiring, something that's appropriate, something that's proper. And I ask that you pay attention to the formation here of these gentlemen who are deputies. And you are going to see in just a moment a sheriff from Florida. And this sheriff is going to tell you how things are going to be for these people that want to violate the law and protest. And this is what we're going to see. This is quite interesting, and it's encouraging to see some law enforcement official finally step up and be responsible for their role in the world. And here we go. We're going to do this one. This one's pretty good. Listen to what this gentleman has to say.
Or not so much, like across this country, where relationships are great and not strained, and where the people support their sheriff and support the men and women who wear the uniform. And you'll have something waiting on you that you don't want. Yes, we'll protect your constitutional rights as long as you remain under the umbrella of peaceful protest or peaceful march. But the second that you step out from up under the protection of the Constitution, we'll be waiting on you. And we'll give you everything you want. All the publicity, all the pain, all the glamour and glory for all that 5 minutes will give you. Is it a threat? Absolutely not. But somebody has to step up in front of the camera and say, enough is enough. Tearing up Clay County, that's not going to be acceptable. And if we can't handle you, you know what I'll do? I'll exercise the power and authority as the sheriff, and I'll make special deputies of every lawful gun owner in this county. And I'll deputize them for this one purpose, to stand in the gap between lawlessness and civility. That's what we're sworn to do, and that's what we're going to do. You've been warned.
You've been warned. I love it. I absolutely love it, ladies and gentlemen. You've been warned. There you go. Clay County, Florida. That's the sheriff. That's the man who has my vote. If he was my sheriff, I would not hesitate to go to the polling station with great pride and vote for this man who stands for law and order and protecting civil liberties and protecting the people of his county. And you'll notice his diverse workforce behind him from Clay County, Florida. More power to him. Go ahead, challenge this sheriff's department, ladies and gentlemen. You thugs want to try insurrection in his county? You see how long it lasts. I love how they all stand there in solidarity, in uniform, dressed properly, standing up for right against what is wrong. And this is what has been lacking in this country for the past month. And it is time for people to stand up, private citizens. I love the fact that this sheriff has no hesitation whatsoever to deputize lawfully armed citizens to support his police force. Now, I would hope it wouldn't need to do that. You'd have to give training to folks, and I would only deputize people who have some sort of law enforcement training or experience or former service members, accustomed to using guns for the most part. But anyway, nonetheless, this is amazing stuff. Good to see. Yeah, it is about time. That's right, Nigel. It is about time. Yep. Someone with backbone. Yeah, that's right, Herr von Rensberg. Janse von Rensberg. Yes, absolutely. You've been warned. Moving to that county. Dion says moving to that county. Bradley says all inspiring. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. People asking about India-China conflict. Yeah, China's just taking advantage of the world is looking elsewhere with Wuhan coronavirus. So I have that one. Let me, sorry, browser's not cooperating. Now, this one's good, folks. I want you to listen to this. This is something that I've been talking about for decades, and I call it the soft racism of low expectations. This is what this is. Now, this is a gentleman who's in New York. It's not the best video. It's a grainy video. But listen to what he's got to say. It goes for a little over 2 minutes, so be patient. It'll be well worth a listen, and I want you guys to catch this. So here we go.
And then another issue that I'm having is also with white guilt. White guilt, I have a huge issue with white guilt, man, on a liberal side. And because you know what white guilt to me is? White guilt to me is low expectation racism. That's all it is. It's, you see white people feeling all concerned for black people. Oh, you guys, it's our fault. I'm so sorry. You guys can never be accomplished in this country because of what we did to you, and because, oh my gosh, it's, and that's, to me, it's sad. That's white, and that white guilt, that virtue signaling, that's an issue, a big issue in this country right now on the left, on the liberal side of things. A lot of my conservatives, white people on the conservative side of things, they don't look at me and feel, oh, so sorry for me, or I'm not capable of being accomplished or being successful. They don't look at me like that. They have respect for me as a fellow American citizen. And that's all I ask for as an American citizen is mutual respect. I don't need you to cower down and take a knee down for me. I don't need you to, to kiss my boots or nothing like that. I don't need nothing crazy like that. I don't need none of that nonsense. Just treat me like a fellow American. I'll do the same to you, and keep it moving. And that's what all I ask. And conservatives give me that. People on the left, they look down on me. They look at me as somebody who can't. Like look at how they talk about voter IDs when they talk about the black community. Look at white liberals when they talk about voter IDs in the black community. They talk about like it's impossible for blacks to have IDs and to be able to vote for themselves. Like, how's that even possible? How can blacks how can they accomplish that? Like, you know how racist that sounds when I hear white people talk about that? That's real racism right there. If you think a black person can't get an ID, you know how easy it is to get an ID, especially in New York City? All you really literally almost have to do is walk in a building. I came in and get a New York ID, state ID, when I just moved here 7 years ago. When I just moved here, I literally walked in the building, had all my mail with me, had like my past 3 bills, all this information, social security card, everything I need, a birth certificate. And they looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, bro, all you need is, you're Christopher Wright, like pretty much, right? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, okay, well, here's your ID. It was that easy. It wasn't a long, difficult process, a process that any adult black person can do by themselves. So to act like it's impossible for blacks to get voter IDs or are capable of doing it on their own, that's racism. That's low expectation racism. And that's where I see modern day racism in 2020 coming at me. It's not some KKK guy in Arkansas in the mountain somewhere with a white hoodie on. It's a little college grad, white kid, Antifa with a mask on, with a black mask on, acting a fool, talking about I'm not capable to get an ID and vote. That's the racism I see in 2020. That's what's going on. It's on the left. So, and then another issue that I'm having is also with.
And that's Christopher Wright from New York, who's not originally from New York. He moved there. And as you heard him say, he's very irritated by the low expectations, the soft racism that takes place from liberals attacking black Americans in particular. This is one that's really disturbed me for a long time, the fantasy of voter suppression that we hear about here in the United States. Brett did a super chat. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But this soft bigotry that takes place in claiming that black Americans are being denied the right to vote because they don't have identification. There's no evidence to support that. There's no study that's ever supported that. And it flies in the face of common sense. For instance, when I go to Walmart and I pass the pharmacy, I see elderly black Americans standing in line to collect their medication. You can't get drugs prescription from a pharmacy without identification. I see people in line at payday lenders and see people in line in banks cashing their Social Security checks. Not anymore now, they're electronic, but physical when they had them. Some people still get them physical. And also cashing payroll checks for those who don't do electronic. You have to have identification to do banking. And I see lots of black folk doing that. So I agree with Christopher Wright. It's very annoying, and he should take offense at this, as do I, when I hear this nonsense that asking someone to have an identification card is a burden that's impossible, when the people that they're trying to claim can't do it have ID cards and their votes not being suppressed. There is real voter suppression in this country, but it's not talked about. For instance, the voter suppression took place in Philadelphia in the 2008 election, the 2012 election, when the Black Panthers stood by voting precincts on the doorstep with nightsticks in a menacing fashion to scare away elderly white voters. But that was swept under the carpet by Eric Holder and the Justice Department. So Brett gave a super chat, another super chat. Thank you so much, Brett. The USA needs to stand by India, a key U.S. ally. Well, I agree with that, Brett. And now that I'm no longer in uniform, I can argue for that. I can argue for policy in the United States. I absolutely agree that the United States should stand by India. It is a key ally, has been a key ally for a long time. It's the world's largest democracy. Not exactly problem-free, but it is the world's largest democracy. Absolutely. So let me show you a couple headlines here to talk about, Rick. Well, let me get to the chat and see what I missed here. Keith Alden says, in the Belgian Congo, wasn't a large problem the unintended consequences of retirement for the black police judiciary to have equal numbers of bullets used executing murders as right hands. I'm not familiar with that story, Keith. Not familiar. Okay. And Gert Janse van Renberg said, what a level-headed guy that just want to have the freedom to be self-sufficient. There you go. Yep. Rigel says, I feel like we're in a more sophisticated cold world. Big data is worth more than gold. Yeah, actually, data is worth more than gold. South Africa, please pull the long schlong out of your rectum, your minds from the battlefields. Okay. Right. Let me put a few headlines up, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to show you a few headlines that are out there from the last few hours. Chicago police, 15 people shot, 3 dead yesterday in a single day, not even a weekend, which is usually when this nonsense happened. Authorities in Chicago say that 15 people were shot, 3 of them fatally, across the city on Thursday. The latest shooting left 1 person dead and another injured in the Austin neighborhood of the west side of Chicago. Police told the Chicago Sun-Times. A group was standing at 11:15 on the 4700 block of West Huron Street when a male approached them and opened fire. The deceased individual was identified by 39-year-old Corey Gilmore. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a city that's been controlled by the Democratic Party without interruption for nearly a century. In a state that's been ruled by governors, not all, but many of them have been Democrats. The very people that claim that Black Lives Matter, the very people claim that there's institutional racism in our country are the ones running our cities and many of our states where these problems exist. And this flies in the face of peaceful protest. Black Lives Matter activist is arrested for attempted murder as the mainstream media rush to their bunkers. The point here being that the mainstream media is not bothering to cover this story about this person who was arrested for murder. Yep, there you go. Early this morning, a Black Lives Matter activist was arrested for attempted murder after firing a gun into an SUV at a recent protest in Utah. There's actually video of the incident which clearly shows the driver of the vehicle barely creeping forward, trying to escape being mobbed before he's shot by a man wearing a mask. Ladies and gentlemen, this took place in Utah, a state that is 97% white. 97% white. We see idiots approaching and shooting motorists. To what end? This is chaos. And the officials that allow this to happen should be dealt with. Let me find the video here. Sorry, I have a video for this. There it is. Okay, here you go. This is the shooting. All right, here we go. I'm going to play this one for you guys.
Controversy continues to rattle the small southeastern city of Alamosa after police say a 27-year-old defense attorney who was protesting shot a 49-year-old driver in the head on Thursday night. The driver is in a Colorado Springs hospital and the attorney is charged with attempted murder and assault. But tonight, KRDO News Channel 13 has obtained security camera footage which has been provided to police from a nearby business that captured the moments leading up to the shooting. Now, we want to warn you that the video you're about to see may be disturbing to some. Here's investigative reporter Chelsea Brensel.
Security footage time-stamped at 5:55 Thursday evening shows the moments surrounding a shooting during a protest in downtown Alamosa. You can see about a dozen protesters lining Main Street with signs in hand. Next, a black truck pulls up, and as the driver goes through the crosswalk, this protester appears to reach in their pocket, pull out what police say is a gun, and aims it at the passenger window of the truck. Within 11 seconds of nearing the crosswalk, the truck comes to a halt in the middle of the intersection. Protesters scatter. Cars continue to drive around the stopped truck for about 2.5 minutes after, and then the truck moves through the intersection. Alamosa police say they found the driver, 49-year-old Danny Pruitt, alert about a half-mile away from the scene of the shooting. Shortly after, police arrested Alamosa defense attorney 27-year-old James Marshall on several charges, including attempted murder and assault. On Friday afternoon, some protesters told KRDO the driver plowed through the crowd. But here's what Alamosa investigators told us about that claim.
So we heard the same thing. Again, it's still an ongoing investigation. I could say that we have no evidence to show that he was driving into or through the protesters.
Meanwhile, many of the protesters in Alamosa are stunned by the violence.
Sad that things turn the way they turn in a matter of a second. I mean, you're talking seconds. It was just the wrong town at the wrong place. Black Lives Matter!
And those who have been at the protests all week hope they remain peaceful as they were before Thursday night. In Alamosa, Chelsea Brensel, KRDO, News Channel 13.
We don't know the driver's condition right now, but a GoFundMe created by his family indicates he is on life support. The fundraiser page also says the driver is a single father and a veteran who lives in Canyon City. Controversy continues to rattle this small South.
Well, we do know the status of the gentleman. He's in critical condition. He is a veteran. Shot in broad daylight by thugs and insurrectionists. And they have the audacity to stand there, this woman who protesting, saying that, it's just a shame this happens. No, you're responsible for this. You people did this by illegally protesting in a public street and creating a situation which put people's lives in danger. That's just one of the situations, ladies and gentlemen. There was another one in Provo in which a person was shot and the guy ran up to the car and shot. Now, this driver drove away from the scene after being shot in the head and drove distance down the road before he pulled over, and he's in critical condition today. This nonsense must stop. This is not acceptable in a civil society. This is not acceptable in my country, and this will not be tolerated. And it's about damn time that officials stepped up and did their job and provided for public safety. And it's also time that this fiction, this nonsense going around be ended, but it's not happening, and it's very disturbing. Anyway, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. A little closer to home here, this is what's taking place. Let me show you this here. This is as of the 1st of July, 2 days ago. And Governor Wolf has extended the mask wearing order in the state of Pennsylvania. That's right. He now says that you must wear a mask at all times in all public spaces. There are a few exceptions to that. But by and large, Governor Wolf and his hysteria and his piss-poor public health department in the state where I live in have once again overreacted based on faulty data and unscientific analysis. But there you go. This is what happens when totalitarians run your state. This is what you have to face. Anyway, all right, so thought I'd share those things with you. There's another video of the actual shooting. I didn't want to show that, where the guy runs up to the car with the weapon drawn. You can see him clearly in the crowd. Someone zoomed in. They've got caught the whole thing where he approached the truck. It was a white pickup truck in Provo, and shot through the window and shot the driver. And people fraudulently, they lied and said that this driver had plowed through a crowd. He didn't plow through a crowd. People came over and beat on his vehicle, and he drove through slowly, and they beat on it stronger. And then this guy ran over and shot him, and he still drove away slowly. Anyway, just this is what happens when you allow chaos, when you fail to protect the public, when you don't uphold the rule of law. We've seen it time and again. Venezuela, Zimbabwe, we've seen it over and over again. This is what happens. Right. Let me catch up in the chat here. Brett's got a lot of stuff here. Brett's with us today. So Anthony's not in the mood for a headache tonight. Yeah, I got you, man. Brett says the only reason India remained neutral in the Cold War is because the USA and Soviet Union jointly condemned China's 6-2 aggression towards India. It was the India honor culture. All right. Strong Angel says young pregnant woman had to pull a gun today. She had a concealed carry permit. The press are playing select bits. This is the full story. Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that, Strong Angel. And then Robert Zede said, he's talking to Clinton. Brett says illegal Latinos should not be allowed to vote in the USA because of past aggression towards Latin America. U.S. policies toward Latin America haven't been good, but Che wasn't any better. Well, I would disagree that U.S. policies toward Latin America haven't been good. In fact, we've supported democracy across Latin America. We've poured billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in assistance in Latin America. We have had gunboat diplomacy errors that we shouldn't be proud of, and we have interfered in governments in Latin America. But just blanketly saying the U.S. Policies towards Latin America have been good, Brett, I wouldn't agree with that. We've done a lot of positive things in Latin America. But no illegals should be allowed to vote anywhere. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you shouldn't be allowed to cheapen our vote by voting here. By the same token, there's some people in the crowd who are dual citizens who aren't going to like my next statement. But as a dual citizen, you have no right to vote in this country. Make your decision. Are you a British citizen or are you a U.S. citizen? Pick your choice. Jorge Ramos, the man who seems to think that he's better than the rest of us and arrogantly and proudly proclaims that he votes in both Mexico and in the United States. Estados Unidos. Jorge Ramos, yes, voting in Mexico. Estados Unidos. No, you're not better than me. You're not a dual citizen. You vote in Mexico, you vote in America. Make your choice, brother. Not both. That's fraudulent. You can't own loyalty. You can't owe loyalty or fealty to two countries. It doesn't work. What is a motor? A car. What are you guys talking about there? All right, stand in the road, get ridden over, and is still surprised. Roads are for cars. If it's a legitimate protest, the roads are blocked off. You're correct, Bradley Cook. Hence the point that this was an illegal protest. They did not file for a permit, and they just stand in the street and expect the wonder. I like the one the other day I saw of the law enforcement, the patrol car, which is jumped on by these people. The cops drove forward slowly, and they jumped on it and tried to stop it as if their bodies were going to stop a motor vehicle with, 250 horsepower and a V8 under the hood. Yeah. And so the cops part, and then they try to, oh, look what they did. They ran over people. Oh, my God. No, you menaced and terrorized law enforcement. You're lucky you didn't get shot or crushed by the car. That's right. Police have been incredibly restrained. Now, if you may have seen some of the footage of horses, police horses have been a little less restrained than law enforcement officers themselves. I love the video footage of the arrogant malcontents who try to run up and attack police officers only to be kicked by horses right square in the gut or the groin. I love it. I love it. It's brilliant. Yeah, terrorizing these horses. Yeah, I've seen that too. Shame on these people. Somebody says, Chris, doesn't Trump just bring an end to this madness? Happen USA, where's the right wing? And here and help resist. Well, Ronald Kutza, let's differentiate. What do you mean by right wing? Right wing? Are you talking about the far right, the alt right? You talking about conservatives? There's a wide range of the right wing. Why don't just cogent thinking people do something? The problem with Trump is that unless the Insurrection Act is invoked, his ability to interfere in issues like this is limited. On federal property, federal installations, federal reservations, the president has supreme authority. However, the president does not have authority on a law enforcement basis in my township, in my county, unless a federal crime is committed. Kidnapping is a federal crime. Interstate theft, bank robbery is a federal crime. Terrorism is a federal crime. Hence, now we can finally go after Antifa. Before that, there was limited things they could do. But if you rob a bank, or if you rob someone's house, that's not an issue for law enforcement. If you vandalize something, that is not a law enforcement issue for the federal government unless it is on federal property or federal reservation. So Trump's ability to interfere is limited or to do something because of our federal system. And that's important for people to understand. We have a federal system in the United States. And so it's important for everybody to understand that. Yep. So Trump does have limited things. We don't have an imperial president. We've had presidents try to be imperial and try to be emperors, but we have a system of checks and balances. And the things that we're talking about here fall to the states and the counties. That's hence my reason for criticizing Governor Inslee and Mayor Durkin of Washington and Seattle, because those are their jurisdictions. They have total law enforcement authority there, and they're the ones who failed. Herman Ruiz, good to see you there, Herman. Welcome aboard. I'm doing okay. We're chatting about woke culture tonight. And sometime soon we will have Joe Amelia back on the channel, and we'll give an update on an article that he's just having published now about woke culture and what's going on with his court case. So that should be coming up. Let's see what else here. Nigel says, "Where is your mask? I will report you to Planetary Sector 9 Precinct for observing Precinct 9." What was that with the South African movie? He said Precinct. No. District 9. What a great movie! Hilarious. Do you believe in the New World Order? Yeah. The problem with the New World Order is it conflates different things. George Herbert Walker Bush talked about the New World Order, but what he was talking about was the world coming together and working together in the aftermath of the bilateral or the bifurcated world between the East Bloc and the West Bloc in the Cold War. And that's very different. But the New World Order has been co-opted to mean these woke idiots and this effort to tear down borders, undermine sovereignty, promote lawlessness around the planet. Is there actually a group of people who believe in that and are pushing for that? Yes, and many of them actually control governments around the world, including South Africa's government and a good portion of the government here in the United States at the state, local, and federal level. So yeah, I do believe it exists. Commonwealth citizens can vote in the UK. It's crazy. Yeah, but the Commonwealth is very different, Gareth. It's actually a political grouping, but yeah, it is really weird. Our FDR good neighbor policy was really good. In Chile, 1973, U.S. was not involved in that coup. And Salvador Allende was a Marxist and ran Chile's economy to the ground. Yes, but then Agustín Pinochet came around and turned it the other direction. Isn't that what Trump is pro-USA identity? Yeah, no, he is. He's pro-USA first, but that doesn't mean to the exclusion of others. Tian says, is Black Lives Matter gaining momentum in the U.S. or is it dying down? It's not gaining momentum, but it's also not dying down because they're not declaring it a terrorist group and tearing it apart with the federal authorities. I'm going to be making a video at some point sometime soon, folks, in which I talk about the single greatest intelligence failure of the 21st century. I've mentioned this before. It's not 9/11. No, it is the failure of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, state police departments and investigation bureaus, and local police to do proper intelligence work to identify the fact that a well-organized and well-resourced counter-America insurgent movement was waiting and took action in the aftermath of George Floyd's death and then the protests, using that as a cover to undermine our governance in an effort to seek to destroy the political system. These people are dangerous, they are criminals, and they need to be caught and prosecuted. The fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigation was unaware of this or did nothing about it should be frontline, front page news story every single day. We heard about intelligence failures in 9/11, some of which were true, most of which were overblown because people don't understand how the intelligence system works. I do. I know the intelligence community. I'm telling you that this is an abject failure or it's a cover-up. I'm not going to say it's a cover-up, but that's the only other option. Either the FBI and law enforcement intelligence officials failed our nation abysmally and allowed an insurrection to take place in this country at the cost of innocent lives, billions of dollars of property damage, and untold damage to the social fabric of this country, not to mention our reputation abroad. Why? Over a fictitious narrative. A fictitious narrative. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brett says, U.S. should never recognize Pinochet government, but under Pinochet, the economy was an all-time high. U.S. eventually condemned Pinochet. Yeah, because Pinochet had excesses, but Chile has a history of excesses, so pick your tyrant. Strong Angel says, that's why the idea of African Americans or British Asians is instant trouble. Absolutely. Again, for those who heard when I was talking about when I tested out of the college level examination program exam for history, for social studies, for English, I took those tests, but I also took one for African American history. When I went back to the motor pool in Germany, in Bad Kreuznach, Germany, with my test scores after they came in the mail for the African American history test, which I earned 3 semester hours of credit for university. And I went to the motor pool with my friends who were mostly black and white and a few Hispanics. And they said, how'd you do? And I said, I got 78 out of 80. And they're like, wow, how do you know so much about African American history? And I answered the question quite frankly, because it's American history and I know American history. So no one had to tell me that Crispus Attucks was black and that he died for liberty and freedom. I knew that because it's part of American history. No one had to tell me about Sojourner Truth. No one had to tell me about Marcus Garvey. No one had to tell me. The list goes on and on. That's right. It's American history, and I learned it. I didn't need someone to give me a special studies course in some narrowly defined part of American history. I learned it. Black Lives Matter is terrorizing America. No argument there. Petrus Osthuizen, I am with you on that one. Kung Fu Kenny, okay. Bradley Cook says, surely Antifa and the Black Lives Movement can be dubbed as local terrorist group by now with the rate of violence safety. Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why Black Lives Matter cannot be declared a terrorist organization, and it should be. Waiting for Trump to do it. George Soros' open borders. Brett says, your thoughts on Thomas Jefferson? Most Americans have a love-hate relationship with Thomas Jefferson. We need to keep Jefferson's status in the memorials. Yeah, my issue on Thomas Jefferson, I have no problem with Thomas Jefferson. He is a bit of a contradiction at times, but he is a true patriot, and he did amazing things to the founding of this country. People are imperfect, and to simply attack them for one aspect of who they were and to denigrate them is shameful. And for those who claim that he is the father of the child from Sally Hemings, then your condemnation is even more disgusting because if that is true, he is in fact the father of a black branch of the Jefferson family. And so why would you hate your ancestors? So, let me see. Bite your ankles. I'm still waiting for them to release the video footage of George Floyd for going for, yeah. When is the stream? Which stream are you talking about there, Clinton McConnell? I missed that. Please tell me which stream you're talking about. Kung Fu Kenny, someone linked the BLM donation page to nearly every political group U.S. that's opposition to Trump. Yeah, it's true. One of Mississippi's U.S. Senator candidates named Mike Espy had ties with Gbagbo of the Ivory Coast. Yeah, Mike Espy was in the previous administration too. Gbagbo was corrupt. Yes, he's the guy who kept Ouattara from running for election illegitimately, claiming that he was a Burkinabe because his parents were from Burkina Faso. Utter nonsense. Virtually everybody's parents in Ivory Coast were from somewhere else in 1990. Clint McConnell, South African history at schools only starts from 1990. South African kids will not know South African history. British schools learn more of South African. Yeah, that's true. It's true, and that's shameful. That's absolutely shameful. We should hear about the Khoisan arriving in southern Africa 50,000 years ago. We should hear about the Homo naledi in the Sterkfontein caves, and how humans have lived there for hundreds of thousands of years. We should hear about how when mankind was cut down to just a few hundreds of Homo sapiens left on the planet, that those who were in southern Africa in the Western Cape eating oysters and clams and things from the sea and surviving in caves on the Western Cape kept humanity alive. We should hear about the Bantu migration into southern Africa and the impact it had on the Khoisan San. We should hear about the arrival of Europeans before 1652 landing periodically on the coast of what became South Africa, and then Jan van Riebeck establishing a permanent station at Cape Town in 1652, and Simon van der Stel, and the British coming. And we should learn about the nine Boer Xhosa War on the border frontier between the Great Fish River and Xhosa and European territory. 9 wars over the course of a little over 30 years. We should hear about the betrayal of Dingane, who wiped out Piet Retief. We should hear about concentration. We should hear all these things. Absolutely true. We should know who Jan Christian Smuts is and who Hendrik Verwoerd is. Yes, but this is being covered up. Okay. Oh, is Erica here? There's Erica. Hey, Erica. We were talking about you. Were your ears burning? We were talking about you a little while ago, Erica. Welcome to the conversation. Well, one of the things I want to talk about, I'll get to it now, ladies and gentlemen, and this is it right here. So let me put these up on the screen very quickly. And there you go. The National Football League is planning to play a song long known as the Black National Anthem before games at the start of its season. Yes. Okay, the NFL is planning to have Lift Every Voice and Sing, long referred to as the Black National Anthem. Notice black is italicized in uppercase. Not italicized, uppercase. Played or performed before games during the first week of this year's season, ESPN reported on Thursday. Citing a source familiar with the plans, the Sports Network reported that the song will be played before the Star Spangled Banner and that the league is considering putting the names of victims of police brutality on player uniforms. Now, let me talk about that. First off, piss on you, National Football League. You're done. Your history. Not interested. Take your garbage. You know, actually, it was going to give you a chance this year. Watched the player draft with expectation. Was excited that my Colts actually were going to have some good players come. But I don't care. I hope you fail miserably because I'm not contributing to your nonsense. Utter nonsense. You deign to insult this nation that I've served 36 and a half years in uniform defending, supporting people's freedom of speech, the right to assembly, and you dare to insult it by playing a song before the national anthem? No, no, no. And when you talk about the so-called police brutality and those who've lost their lives, will it include the 400 plus white Americans who were killed by police unlawfully in 2019? Or just the 280 black Americans? And what about the Asians and Hispanics? No, no. NFL, you are done. 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 Toast. Absolute nonsense. I've had enough of this crap. So that's one of them. And then the other here is NFL to play a Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice, and Sing before Star Spangled Banner Week 1 games. Following the nationwide protest that sprung up in the wake of George Floyd's killing at the hands of Minneapolis police. Okay, no, it wasn't at the hands of the Minneapolis police. It was at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. This implies that the entire police force was responsible. Fraudulent fake news. Several players, including Patrick Mahomes, who is mixed race and looks almost as white as me, Deshaun Watson, Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham, and Ezekiel Elliott released a video requesting the league acknowledge the issues faced by black people, that it had erred in silencing players who spoke out on those issues in the past, and the Black Lives Matter. Commissioner Roger Goodell released a video of his own the next day, acceding to each of these requests. Mahomes called Goodell's video a first good step, but acknowledged that the players want to make it sure it leads to action. The league later recognized Juneteenth as the official holiday, pledged to donate $250 million over the next 10 years to fight systemic racism, and pledged to reach out to players who have raised their voices on issues of racial inequity. Now it is committed to spotlighting another part of black history. Well, once again, I come into this argument about the National Football League. If the National Football League gave a flying flip about these issues that they claim are legitimate, why do they not take the NFL Network, a cable station that is available all over the country, and it runs 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year? Instead of showing us tired old repeats of football games that occurred in the 1960s, how about devoting a show to talk about these so-called issues that you care about? No, they don't care about that. They would much rather subject their clients, their customer base, the people that make it possible for them to be such asinine rejects of society and make such stupid claims. They would prefer to subject us to their stupidity. So I'm supposed to, let's say I have a family of 5 and I buy my tickets to a NFL game, say the Baltimore Ravens. The tickets are $125 a piece. 5 family members. That is $625 for the tickets. The parking is $40 to $80, so let's make that $660. Buy a little bit of food and drinks, that's another $100. That's $70. Buy any kit while at the game and a program, we're talking $800 to $1,000. So I come to a game for $800, $1,000 so that you can play a song to insult the United States of America? Are you serious? If you really cared about the issue, you wouldn't do these gestures. You would actually put these people on your program so they can talk about it. You have a network. If people care, they'll watch it. But people don't care what a small, vocal, malcontent minority who wish to distort history. When these people started taking knees at football games a couple years ago, I took umbrage with it. And I loved their mealy-mouthed response. Well, we don't mean to offend veterans. What do you mean offend veterans? How is a veteran offended by this? Patriots are offended by your action, not veterans, patriots. Don't try to excuse your boorish behavior by apologizing to veterans. Apologize to patriotic Americans. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I was a serving active duty member at the time. And all the things they tried to say they weren't insulting, they were insulting. And not because I had that status, but because I'm a patriotic American who believes in the Declaration of Independence, who solemnly believes in the value of our Constitution. And Erica has become a member. Thank you so much for becoming a member, Erica. Wow, that's awesome. Another member of Chris White Africa. And there goes the zombie as he disappears across the escarpment of the Mahalichtsburg. Thank you so much, Erica, for becoming a member. Yes, when they started this nonsense, I took great umbrage with it. And when they asked them, well, I don't mean to offend patriots. No, or not patriots, veterans. You know, you're offending patriots. And patriot is not a term that applies to white, to male, to female, to left-handedness, to right-handedness, to Muslim, to Christian. It applies to Americans who believe in the system, who believe in the value of this country. And these people insult us. And they have no excuse for it. And they make no good arguments for it. All of these things are abject lies, or absolute lies, not abject lies, absolute lies. Police brutality. 45 million black Americans in this country. 280 were killed in police custody last year, which includes, in prison, in transit, being arrested, but at the hands of law enforcement. 280 black Americans. Over 400 white Americans. 280. Yet black men are being hunted down the streets. They're lies. Total lies. Absolute lies. Yeah, people believe it. Instead of thinking objectively and talking about the issues. And then, of course, they spur into something else. Well, no, it's not that. It's oppression and this, that's the other. Yeah, enough. The NFL, done. Toasted. Over. Piss off. You're on your own. You get never a cent from me again. Your behavior is shameful. And it does nothing. It does nothing to address the issues you claim to care about. Not a darn thing to address those issues. Not even for a microsecond. All it does is feed the rabid wolves who have no legitimate argument. You have a network. Use it. Don't subject us. If I don't want to watch your network, I can turn the channel. If I'm curious to hear about these issues, I can watch it. But when I pay $1,000 to go to an NFL game, I don't want to be subjected to your political nonsense. I'm going to watch football, not Fantasy Island. And there you have it. Thank you so much, Erica, for becoming a member. Let me catch up here. Linda says, really, this is really becoming ridiculous. They're Americans first. Exactly right. Exactly right, Linda. Thank you. Linda Rasmus says, my granddaughter cannot go to school on Monday. She's in grade R. I don't know what grade R is. Too late, Erica. You're infamous. Okay. I love it when other members like Sky Greg T welcomes new members to the channel. So thank you for doing that. Petrosos Hoisen, there you go. Yeah, $800 is an average to go watch for a game for family. Didn't realize the game ticket price was high. Yeah, no, those are not even the best seats, Bradley. Those are, 30-yard line, maybe the 40-yard line, upper level, $125 a ticket. Absolutely. Now you can sit in the skybox, about 30 meters below where the helicopters fly, and, or not the skybox, but the top seats, and you pay only about $60 a ticket. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous what people pay for that. Yeah. Sports, no politics. Yeah, exactly, Clinton. Exactly right. Don't put politics in it. So, for instance, when the South African Rugby Union started introducing quotas and saying that 50% of players must be black, I was prepared to lead a campaign to ban South African rugby from participating in World Rugby. That's right. You know how much I love the Springboks, but I hate racism more, and that's racism. If Saru cared about young black South Africans playing rugby, then they would be in the townships. They would be in the rural areas. They would be encouraging setting up rugby leagues and paying for it and delivering supplies and coaching kids so that they could become talented rugby players instead of relying on the traditional handful of traditional rugby schools where kids come from in the Western Cape and in Pretoria. They would actually go out beyond that and reach out to kids across the country. But they don't care about it. They just like window dressing. We got one of them, we got one of them, we got one of them. Look at us, we're so diverse. Nonsense. You're just full of crap. There you go. Clinton is writing his presidential speech. Okay, all right, cool base. Yeah, its prices are insane, Strong Angel. That's absolutely right. That's ridiculous. By comparison, you can go to a rugby game in South Africa for 100 rand or something like that. So that's a good deal. Yeah, the prices are absolutely outrageous. And you think that's bad? Try buying a ticket for an NBA game. NHL games can be outrageous too. NHL ticket prices $800, $1,100 a seat because remember, far fewer people sit there, so they charge much more for the good seats. And there are far fewer of the cheaper seats available because people snatch them up. Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy. I've gone to professional games, but only when I get tickets for free or when I can get a really good deal on them because someone's reselling it or, it wasn't a popular team or something like that. It's absolutely outrageous what they charge. Yep. All right. Some rugby players are going out, reaching out to kids. Training. Yeah, some players are, Lynn, you're correct. But Saru is not. And it is in a minor fashion now, but it should have been doing it for 26 years. Instead of blaming racism for the reason that rugby is popular among white kids, but not so much among black kids. Well, there's a reason for that. And it's not racism. Now, you can blame racism for the apartheid era and get some merit to that argument, but simply blaming racism for kids not playing rugby today? No. 26 years later? No. Majority rule, majority control, majority funding, majority failure. There you go. That's why more black kids don't play rugby in South Africa. It's a cultural thing too. Black kids tend to prefer to play that boring game called soccer or football if you're outside the United States. Yeah, that's more popular with kids. So that's not the fault of white communities in the Western Cape or in Gauteng. That is the fault of Saru. Yep. All right. Who has an adult diaper on? What march? Bite your ankles, what march? Is this the one against farm murders? Yeah. Christian's not here, Eric. I haven't seen Christian. If he is, he's being very silent tonight. But I have not seen Christian. Yeah, we got an early start, folks. We started an hour earlier today because it's Friday. I had some other things to do, so we want to get an earlier start. And so I have not seen Christian in here at all. Nigel, you guys are throwing me off here. Yeah, Gareth, I just said that. Black kids don't have rugby culture from their parents. Government don't provide rugby posts, even though they can make dual posts. They keep being told it's racist. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. And that's Saru's fault, the South African Rugby Union. It's their fault along with the ANC. And I say their fault because Saru is influenced heavily by the African National Congress. Absolutely right. Oh, the March Against Farm Attacks. Thank you, Bite Your Ankles. That's what I thought it was. Yep. That's what I thought it was. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what happens with that, how many people turn out. Also, it'd be interesting to see some images of that, to see who's actually in the demonstration, because when they did this, the march against, or they did the drive, and the people turned out on, was it Black Monday or whatever it was, or Black Friday? I think it was Black Monday, against Plasmod. They portrayed it as a right-wing, white racist thing, when in fact I looked at photos of people out there, and a large number of those folks were colored, and also a few black South Africans were out there marching, or not marching, but against Plasmod. So I just love how they they fictitiously create things in the news and distort reality. Yep. Cape Town refinery blast, that seems a bit strange. Do you think it could be terrorist? No, it's probably poor maintenance. Poor maintenance. Oh, Christian is here. Thank you, Ana. All right. Racist is just the new K word, nothing more. It's just tired. It's tiring to listen to people just say racist, racist, racist when they don't even know what it is. They can't make the distinction between bigotry and racism, and that's a big problem. But the NFL has gone above and beyond. Now they're going to spend $250 million of those ticket prices that I and millions of other people paid to go to their games and use it to promote this stuff. Why don't they use their network? I say this again. Why are they not original enough to use the NFL network, a 24/7 cable network that could cover these events with imagery, with interviews, with discussion, with call-in programs? They can do all these things, yet you don't see it happening, which leads me to believe that they're not serious about it. I know they're not serious about it. It's absolutely the case. I was so ready to give the NFL another chance So ready because I really like football and I miss it. But forget them. Forget them. All right. What's this? Garnering money off people? Well, there are definitely people who use racism to make money. We look at Al Sharpton. His entire life has been about this race baiting and trying to bifurcate society with his Tawana Brawley fiction, the made-up story about that. Then, of course, he stuck his nose into the Duke lacrosse rape case in which there was no rape and these lives were destroyed. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the kids involved in that Duke who were kicked out of school, whose lives were disrupted and destroyed over falsely being accused of raping this black prostitute stripper who came to their dormitory, or not their dormitory, to their frat house. In fact, a couple of kids who were accused of having this and their name was put in the paper, the university expelled them from school, weren't even present that night. Yet they were accused, and that was enough. Yeah, a little foreshadowing of the Me Too movement when people are accused of things without any evidence and presumed to be guilty. This is the most shameful distortion of the American judicial system, our system of jurisprudence. You are innocent until proven guilty in our system. Now, the court of public opinion is different, but the court of public opinion should not influence people's education, people's employment, and people's lives. People can think what they want of you in the public, good or bad. But when it costs you your education, your employment opportunities, your reputation, then there should be some recourse. And the race merchants who destroyed these people's lives at MSNBC, at CBS, at ABC, at NBC, at CNN, there should have been a consequence. Notice how there's been no press coverage of the court settlements in the Covington kids case. You guys notice that? Remember the Covington kids who went to D.C. on a field trip and they were wearing Make America Great caps again, or whatever the first one was. Yeah, it was Make America Great caps. And they were approached by this Native American ass who banged a drum in their face and chanted at them. And then the press turned it into, white supremacists, Trump supporters, harass Native American in D.C. When in fact it was quite the opposite. And we saw the full footage. We saw that these kids never said a word to this person. They never approached him. They were on their own. He invaded the kids' space and attacked them. These kids were subjected to death threats. They were threatened. They were painted and portrayed as racist and bigots by the media. And guess what? All lies. But here's the good news. The Covington kids sued and they won. Major financial settlements against CNN and other networks. Now, where's that news story at? When was that in the news? When did even Fox News cover it? If they did, I don't recall seeing it. Funny how that story is covered up and not talked about. Yeah. Covington kids. Their future is secure. Mainly because they're wealthy now thanks to the malpractice, the malfeasance of the media. It's about time they paid a price for their misreporting. What are you guys talking about wearing diapers? What's going on with that? Okay. Bite Your Ankle says, people go see on Twitter, there's a definite shift. Black people are fighting the government because they want an all-inclusive economy and legislation. Well, they should want that. Black Lives Matter is getting painted in front of Trump Tower in New York. Glorious. What, on the street? Oh, there's Christian. What, on the street, Christian? On the street of New York Street? And you think that's glorious? Defacing public space? Criminals. Criminals. And why do you idiots persist in this fake, false, blatantly lying narrative that Donald Trump doesn't like black people? The man has done more for black Americans than any president in living history. More than any president. The guy has more black friends than anybody. But the problem is that he doesn't bow down and lick the toes of the leftists who run this world. So Donald Trump has the temerity to stand up to you clowns. And because of that, you paint him as a racist. Well, we're not that stupid. And neither are the millions of Trump supporters who happen to be black. No, it's not just Candace Owens. It's a lot more than that. Millions of black Americans can see through your bullshit. That's right. You think it's glorious that people deface public streets and paint a sign in front of a building in front. You know what? And Trump doesn't give a flip because he's not a racist. It's people like you who perpetuate that nonsense, Christian. It's a fairy tale. Stop engaging in your race merchant baiting. It's simply not true. All right, what else? Luddite broadside. Clip culture, yeah, where you show just a little clip, Rigel. That's exactly right. You don't show the whole story. World be a place without journals. Well, there are good journals south in the world. The problem is the editors and rooms turn things around. Coysign knows that. Been on the receiving end of their attacks for generations. True. When do we march for smokes? Robert said, he says, when do we march for smokes in South Africa? I got you, man. I don't smoke, and I would march with you. I would march. Yeah, that's right. Because this is irrational, capricious governance. Capricious governance. If only the left had that kind of power, Chris. If only. What kind of power is that, Christian? What, to lie about Donald Trump and call him a racist? They have that power. They do it every day. Watch Rachel Maddow, this insane lunatic, pretending to be a journalist or at least a commentator. She's a lunatic. She's absolutely off her rocker. She's 100% nutter. In fact, I think someone ought to offer her a residence in some sort of home. She's a nutter. The conspiracy theory nonsense that she perpetuates and spews on a daily basis on her program. Yes, absolute nonsense. Or what about Don Lemonhead? Oh, Don Lemonhead. And the nonsense that he does, the condescending, arrogant, asinine vitriol that comes out of that man's mouth. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Don Lemonhead calling Trump a homophobe with no basis, no evidence. The man appoints a known, open, admitted homosexual to be our ambassador to Berlin. One of the 3 most important foreign postings for an American diplomat. Our relations with Berlin are very important. And we send Richard Grenell, an openly gay man, there. And barely gets through the nomination process because they attack him with homophobic slurs. The left attacked him. The supposedly understanding people on the left who care about inclusion. And we have to be considerate of others. Yet they attacked him for being homosexual. The same people that threatened to out Lindsey Graham. Why is Lindsey Graham not married? Ooh, is he a closet gay? Yeah, that's the garbage that came out of the mouth of leftists, not of conservatives. We don't give a crap what his sexual orientation is, if he's into men or women. That's Lindsey Graham's business. Libertarians don't care about that either. But only the left would bring this garbage up. Only the left would attack Richard Grenell for being a homosexual. And when he became the temporary acting director of national intelligence, the full court press came on. And what's more disturbing is the holier than thou, nose in the air, German arrogant leftists who constantly look down on Americans as if we're some, idiotic colonist with their arrogance. They attacked Richard Grenell for being a homosexual. But they're so understanding, the Germans. They're so enlightened. They're so woke. Apparently not when it comes to Richard Grenell. Disgusting. Christian says Trump has lied 18,000 times since taking office. Christian, are you like a 12-year-old sitting in your dad's den? I'm starting to wonder if that's the case here. Really starting to wonder, Christian, if you're a 12-year-old sitting in your dad's den. Sharks supporter. Well, I'm not wearing a Sharks jersey today, ladies and gentlemen. Today, someone called me out for wearing a South African jersey yesterday. So here you go. This is a Kutztown rugby jersey. Kutztown is a private university, I think maybe a state university here in Pennsylvania, located about an hour and a half northeast of here on the way to New York City, but still in Pennsylvania. Kutztown is named after a German name, of course, and they have an amazing rugby program. This is from their sevens team. They compete in the Collegiate Rugby Championship every year, which didn't take place this year because of COVID-19. But Kutztown has a pretty good rugby team. A lot of their players move on to play for the national team. And they do quite well in the competition every year. So this is from Kutztown. Pretty cool, the Kutztown Bears. And they do quite well in that tournament. So yesterday I was wearing the Sharks jersey, and someone, I don't know if it was joking or was meant to be facetious, but someone says I was trying to South Africanize myself. All right, for the sake of clarity, I've never claimed to be such a thing, but let's be clear. I am an American. That's right. That's right, an American. I am a U.S. citizen by birth. And my people have been here since 1621. Not a South African. Don't claim to be. Never claim to be. Do I like the Springboks? You damn Skippy. I love the Springboks. Do I have an affinity for South Africa? You damn Skippy. I have an affinity for South Africa. Never claimed to be a South African. Not trying to be a South African. But wearing the rugby jersey of another country does not make me trying to be South African-esque. No. Then you would make the same claim when I wear my Brave Blossoms Japanese rugby jersey, but I'm not trying to be Japanese, or my Welsh jersey, or my Ireland jersey. Not trying to be any of those things. Or my, God forbid, my Blues jersey from Super Rugby from New Zealand. Not trying to be any of those things. Simply a huge rugby fan and trying to promote the sport of rugby. Especially now when rugby can't participate. You can't see games with the exception of New Zealand, who's got their own little Super Rugby tournament going on. So no, I found that entertaining. I hope it was being facetious, but I wasn't sure. Hendrik de Klerk says, one of my best friends used to play for Frederick, Maryland. Really? Well, Frederick's right down the road from here. It's a 55-minute drive from here. It's a beautiful location. Now, there's too many people there now. The county's filling up with people moving into it because they're moving out of D.C. Petra says Christian should go work for Yahoo or News 24. That's funny. Gene Campbell says, I want to make a suggestion. USA should buy all private property for $1. The ANC said they won't expropriate properties for investors. Yeah, well, that's what they say, Gene, but then what happens in reality? We'll see what happens in reality. Yeah, they'll do it. They did it in Zimbabwe. Yep. Let's see what else. Mad cow disease. Hey, Nezzy. Linda, my Lord, people will find fault for most. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you wear. No, that's what I said earlier. Someone mentioned, and someone said to me they were hot full of the comments on the channel, and I said, relax. I said it's okay. I could walk in here today with a pill, and I've cured all forms of cancer and COVID-19, and I could offer to produce this and give it to everyone on the planet for free. And I would ship it to everyone on the planet, including in Tibet, Antarctica, deliver it to them. And I would pay all the cost of that. And people would say, what's in it for you? What are you doing? Who do you think you are? What are you? It's some plot. You're taking over the world. There's always somebody who's got something to say, ladies and gentlemen. If you try to please everybody, then you're on a fool's errand. You should be honest, earnest, forthright, and be well-informed. And if you are, that's the best you can hope for. If you can convince people of your thoughts and your positions and your ideas, then more power to you. But there's always going to be somebody who disagrees with you. I have worked for people that think that I'm brilliant. I've worked for a couple of people who think that I'm a prat. They're wrong, but they think that. I have had people who work for me who think I'm the best boss they've ever had. I've treated them better than anyone else. And I've worked for people who didn't like working for me. You can't control that. All you can do is be who you are and be genuine. And I'm genuine. And there you go. I get a kick out of the stream last week when some troll came on. Oh, you guys are all suckers. This guy's not in the army. Well, of course I'm not in the army. Look at this. You can't have this in the military. Obviously, I'm not in the army. Read my profile. Read my channel intro video. It will explain to you that I'm a retired U.S. Army colonel, not an active serving. And a recently retired one at that. Never claimed to be something I'm not. I've never once claimed to be something I'm not. You can just be the best you can and be as honest as you can. And people are going to troll you. People are going to like you. People are going to dislike you. The fact that Donald Trump was never called a racist before he decided to run for president is telling, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Never called that by anybody. Had a lot of black friends throughout New York, throughout the country, around the world. Never called a racist. In fact, called a dear friend of the African American community on more than one occasion, including by some of the current race merchants who do race baiting. That's what they said of Donald Trump. But then Donald Trump ran for office, and they laughed. Not going to happen. What an idiot. He'll never be president. And then the media, every time Donald Trump went out and stumped on a speech, would stop all their news coverage, and they would turn their cameras on Donald Trump and leave it on. And the guy would talk for 3 hours. He got 3 hours of free programming on all the major networks. Suddenly, Donald Trump started to win primaries. Wait a second. This guy could become president. He could get the nomination. He got the nomination. The moment that Donald Trump got the nomination, suddenly Donald Trump was a racist. He was a misogynist. He was a failed businessman with untold bankruptcies. He was an evil person. He wasn't any of those things before that. Look at the rehabilitation of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's turned out to be a piece of crap. He's not a Republican. He's not a conservative. He's a pandering politician who wears the Republican label because it works for him to get him elected in a Republican state of Utah. And those people are stupid enough to vote for him. Hopefully they'll be smarter the next time he runs. But Donald Trump was none of the things he claimed he is until he ran for office. And then they realized, oh, we can't control him. And that's the bottom line. They can't control. So the wet dream of these people is Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe, hang on. Give him an injection. I'm awake now. This is important. Let me share this with you. I know I plagiarized this in 1968 in a college paper, but I'm going to plagiarize it again. I'm taking from a speech from Neil Kinnock. I'm going to use Neil Kinnock's words and not tell you where I got these words from because I'm a plagiarist. I am Joe Biden. Yeah, there you go. Sleepy Joe. Anyway. Is there any place one can actually get real news? Yeah, Linda, there's lots of places. So Epic News is one source, Epic Times, excuse me. So let me show you that one back up on the page. This is, now no news is unbiased entirely, but the Epic Times, that's right here. You can check them out. It's at www.the.epic.times, or I say Epoch. They call it Epic Times though. They have an online presence. You can also get the newspaper here in the States. That's a relatively unbiased. The Washington Times slants right, but they do a far better job of reporting news objectively. The Mail and Guardian was once a reliable source, no longer. The Daily Maverick in South Africa can be a reliable source, but not all the time. It's hit and miss with the Daily Maverick. So News 24 is highly unreliable. They do report news, but they editorialize everything. And then their editorials are just crap too. So yeah, you just got to you got to find a balance. So The Economist, did I save that? I had this thing up. I'm trying to find where it's at now. I had pulled this article up from The Economist, and it just made me want to laugh because The Economist is being there it is. Here it is. Let me copy. Let me get this over here, and I'll bring this one up for you guys. So this is an article that came in The Economist. I've been a subscriber to The Economist since 1989, I think it was. It's been a long time. So let me pull this one up for you guys. The Economist. There you go. This appears in The Economist. Joe Biden has a good chance of becoming a surprisingly activist president. This is the July 4th edition, which comes out on Saturday. He is reassuring and popular and has come to boast an ambitious policy platform. What policy platform? The guy hasn't proposed a single... Is my mute? My microphone. Where's my microphone at? My microphone's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. What policy platform? He has not proposed a single policy initiative. I get things in the mail every other day from the Biden campaign trying to convince me to vote for this clown. And none of them give me any policy positions. On November 7th, 1972, the people of Delaware voted to send Joe Biden, a brash, garrulous county councilman, to the United States Senate, even though he would not turn 30. The Senate's minimum age for another 2 weeks. Who cares about 1972? This fossil has been around forever. He's been around forever. Unbelievable. So you notice how they hail the chief first-term U.S. presidential approval rating. They pick a spot in time, June. They cherry pick in the midst of Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19, and they put Trump on here showing that he looks to be somewhat unpopular. Anyway, what a bunch of nonsense. The House has got the rest for us. Long time coming. Joe selected events. Yeah, this guy is an empty vessel, and he's not even lucid these days. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So that's The Economist. That's what we get from The Economist. Asking about reliable, honest news sources. That's not one. I got a phone call from The Economist this week from the UK asking me about why I hadn't renewed my subscription. And I had to tell the guy, I said, well, frankly, the God's honest truth is that you stopped being a news organization about 20 years ago, and I only kept the magazine out of loyalty. I used to read it every time the issue arrived in my mailbox in Africa or in Europe, overseas. I would grab that thing and read it from cover to cover, everything, editorials, news from around the world. But now I can barely bring myself to pick it up. The covers are revolting, disgusting things they put on it. Let me see what else you got here. Linda Smith, I'll look those up. I'm only on Daily Maverick, but also find them to be here and there. Yeah, okay, Linda. So if you agree with me that you find Daily Maverick to be here and there, then you're a cogent person. You can think for yourself and you can think critically, because the Daily Maverick does great news reporting. They also do abysmal news reporting. So it's hit and miss. Yeah, look up Epic Times. Look up the Washington Times. Those are good sources of news. But the Washington Times, I'll tell you up front, they are conservative leaning and they are a little biased, but they're far more objective than their opponents. The Washington Post is just garbage, just utter garbage. I pick these things apart all the time. In fact, as I told you guys before on here on this stream, there was an issue with the New York Times a couple years ago, right after Trump was elected president. I'm trying to find this because I posted an article because I was so angry at the New York Times. They had a Liberian American write this op-ed whining about Trump cutting foreign aid and the impact it's had and the problems it's caused in Africa. The article appeared less than 90 days after the guy was president. There's not a damn thing he could have done in 90 days that led to any changes in Africa. So it's very disingenuous. So I'm going to try to find that article right now, and I'll show it to you on the screen. so that you guys are familiar with it. But it was a couple years ago, really. And so I wrote to the New York Times, and of course, they didn't publish my response. I sent them a short version, I sent them a longer version, and they didn't respond to it. But and I'll show you something else here that's I think is interesting. Where's the New York Times thing at? Okay, come on, getting there close. The trolls. Come on. Maybe that was it. Sorry, I just want to show you the guys this one. So, come on, there it is. Oh yeah, here. No, that's not it. Sorry. That's not it. No, that's not it. Yeah, anyway, it's here somewhere. I'll find it later. But in the meantime, let me show you this one here, which is I think is interesting. You'll enjoy this one. This was an op-ed piece that was run because the world was not upset about a major bombing that took place in Somalia. And so this is from October of 2017, and I wrote this in response to that. So here you go. Let me turn that off. Here you go. So why aren't we all with Somalia? October 16th, 2017. And what I wrote is, in the midst of horrific carnage in Mogadishu, there appears to be lots of hand-wringing about why no one is screaming about Somalia. And this is what the Western press had to say. Normally, it would be hard-pressed to hear me defend the media of late, but this is perhaps one time commenting on the usual hysteria merits some defense of the media too. So I defended the media. While there are many people who genuinely do care and are concerned about Somalia being less important to the media or the average Western citizen than, say, Beyonce or Harvey Weinstein — remember, Weinstein was in the news then — the explosion of outrage about the lack of empathy or media coverage over Mogadishu attack is largely stage acting. It is a combination of hypocrisy, false claims, misleading claims, and demands to feel guilt over a lack of empathy for people of color. The real story here is the continuing terror campaign in Somalia and the inability to achieve lasting governance or peace, as well as the horrible damage inflicted on families and the morale of the Somali people, not the lack of emotional outpouring in Peoria, Provence, or Parma. Anyway. So I talk about, make no mistake, what is at work here is an effort to create a race-based fissure and to attempt to guilt anyone not up in arms about the attack. So do they have a point? Maybe, but not really. The one they are making, racism, not about the one they're making. Let's look at the few claims. They claim hypocrisy, false claims. They claim misleading claims, demanding guilt. What else? What I got here? Anyway, so yeah, so I wrote that in October. So if anyone's interested in that, that's my take on why the media lies about what was happening there. If you remember, this was where a bomb attack in which hundreds of people were killed. And yeah, so that's why aren't we up in arms about Somalia? That's one I wrote. I'm trying to find the one about the New York Times here. While I'm looking for that, let me go ahead and take that off the screen and put myself back up there, and we'll see if I can find that article. So yeah, LinkedIn articles don't get read very often, which is disappointing. I could get 10,000, 15,000 people read the things that I write when it comes to posts on LinkedIn because they're short. But when I write an article, you're lucky if you get a few dozen people that read it, actually. I have 8,000 people who follow me on LinkedIn, and those who read my articles, actually quite small. So I'm going to try to find the article again real quick. Oh, yeah, here it is. All right, there it is. I found it. All right, this is a good one. This is the one you guys want to know about. Okay, so, sorry. Counterpoint, New York Times, White House pushes military might over humanitarian aid in Africa. I wrote this, this was published on August 4th here, but I wrote it back in June. A recent New York Times article dated June 25th, 2017, makes several assertions and offers. Now remember, President Trump became president in January, late January of 2017. February, March, April, May. 4 months after this thing comes out, the White House is pushing military might over humanitarian aid in Africa. And it's just utter lies. And this is my response to it and debunking all the nonsense that's written in here about this. Now, this is after Trump had been president for less than 4 months. They're claiming that he is pushing military aid in Africa. By the way, since that date in 2017, the argument has not been true. There have not been more examples of the Trump administration pushing military aid over humanitarian assistance. Just utter lies. Anyway, some folks are leaving. Must be getting late. It's only, it's 10:30 there now. All right, so 6. Oh, you guys are talking about cigarettes. Talking about cigarettes here. Okay. And you're talking about 5G is a thing. Yeah, 5G is a thing. It's a means of communication there, Christian. Huawei is using technology, and they've stolen from Western companies to produce 5G technology from their standards, and companies in the West are producing their own standards. 5G is a real thing. But I think what you're talking about is conspiracy theory about the lunacy of 5G and COVID-19 being linked. They're not. That's pure fantasy. You guys are talking about flights. Cheat cards, Chris. People need cheat cards. Okay, you guys are talking about particle filters and stuff like that. I'm not really sure where that's coming from or what you guys are talking about. Is that for the cigarettes or for flying planes? What is it? Not really sure. Anyway, yeah, so those are 2 articles that I wrote on LinkedIn. If anyone's interested in that, you can check it out. And that kind of talks about what's this? We got some comments over here now. I'll read that article. It looks good. Thank you. You're welcome, Linda. Gareth says, sorry, I'm sure you'll understand. Super Rugby tickets are about the price of the difference between Roberts and my smokes. I've noticed YouTube reading my mind. 5G. Stevie B. Well, there you go, Christian. There's your conspiracy right there. Stevie's point out that they're reading his mind or her mind. Stevie, I assume, is a guy, but it could be a gal. Anyway, yeah, so where are we at? We're looking at just over 2 hours, folks. You're listening to Chris Wyatt Africa on the Indaba Africa channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Got an early start here on this Friday. Let me just cover some ground since we're at the top of the hour. A broadcast hour, that is, not the hour on the clock, but the broadcast hour, since we're into this for 2 hours. Tomorrow on my channel, right here at 11 Eastern, 5 p.m. in Botswana and in South Africa, Major General Johan Josta will be my guest, former South African Defense Force infantry officer and Major General from the South African National Defense Force. Later worked for BAE Systems, a private contractor, and traveled the world. Then subsequently worked for the South African National Park Service and now for a non-government organization. We'll be talking about wildlife conservation and parks across Africa tomorrow right here on Chris Wyatt Africa. On Monday, for your viewing pleasure, we have coming on a special feature, 11 Eastern, same time as Saturday, 5 p.m. in Botswana and in South Africa. Dax. Dax is a South African artist who is a Swati / Ndebele. His mother's from Bulawayo. His father is a Swati from South Africa. And he'll be on here. He lives in Johannesburg area talking about being an artist and the challenges in the wake of Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 and the impact it's had on his lifestyle and his livelihood. And it's not been pleasant, folks. But he's quite a talented artist, and you will see him here on the channel Monday on a special feature. Tuesday, we have a special feature with Marlaise, who's from Namibia, and you may have seen her video a couple years ago in which she was riding her bicycle around and ran into a rugby goalpost. It went viral around the world, received a lot of hits, a couple million hits if I'm not mistaken, and begins with F and ends with a K. My Marlaise. So she will be on the program talking about instant fame and notoriety. And she's currently an au pair in the Netherlands. She'll be appearing here Monday at a special time on a special feature. It will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana. That's on Tuesday. So Saturday, a guest, the General. Monday, Dax, the artist. Tuesday, Marlaise. And then next Friday, Giselle will be on the channel. We'll be going over all the songs from Fitland's Mensa. Now that every song has been released digitally, that will be here on the channel next Friday. I haven't set a Saturday guest yet, but in addition to that, I expect to have Jeremy Nell from Germ Warfare on the channel sometime soon. In addition to that, David Otto, who is a security specialist, a Nigerian UK citizen, who will talk about security in Africa. So that's coming up as well. So that should be interesting. All right, a couple questions over here. Linda says, great lineup coming. May dual citizens join the U.S. Army? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if they expect you to renounce your citizenship, but if you can, as a foreign national, join the U.S. Army. As long as you meet the requirements and the legal standards, you can join. We have lots of foreign nationals. In fact, joining the U.S. military is a faster path to citizenship. It's the fastest path. Usually you can become a citizen within like 3 to 5 years if you've served honorably in the U.S. military. And a lot of people do that. They become U.S. citizens through military service. Now, you cannot be an officer. You can't be a commissioned officer in the military, but you can enlist. So say you're a South African, you want to join the U.S. Army. You apply, you join the U.S. Army, you go to basic training, and then you become a soldier, enlisted soldier. If you become an American later, then you can become a commissioned officer. But you cannot serve as a commissioned officer in the U.S. military unless you are an American. Naturalized is fine, but you have to be an American. Garrett says, work for telecoms. 5G is safer than having a microwave on the far side of your house. Oh, you're talking about the radio emissions. Okay, I think you guys were talking about security. Bite Your Ankles says, thanks for a great show. All right, Bite Your Ankles, take care. Enjoy the 4th. Strong lineup. Yep, Chris, a bit late. Like the sound of the lineup you just spoke about. Hey, Christo, good to see you coming here. About to wrap it up, actually. I don't want to keep people here any longer. Been on for 2 hours. I'm going to take a break here shortly. I was planning on going to Gettysburg today because it's the 3rd of July, which was the last day. of the Battle of Gettysburg, but I didn't get down there, so I'm going to have to pass on that. Morton Christie tried to join the 80s, was turned down, no university degree. That's odd, Morton, because you don't need a university degree to join the military. You need a university degree to become a commissioned officer, and you can't become a commissioned officer unless you're an American citizen. So it sounds like someone misinformed you, and that's unfortunate because you could have joined. There was no requirement to have a university degree. We don't require university degrees, just high school graduates. You must be a high school graduate or equivalent to join the U.S. military. And at times they relax that. Tian says it's good information for young South Africans. Okay, cool. Good to go. Good to go. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, Anna. That's exactly the person who will be on the program. Erica is too old to join any army. Yeah. Well, Erica, we know where you were in 1959. So, yes, you're too old to join Army. Sky Greg T says, fun stream this evening. Thanks, Chris. Everyone here, happy 4th. Okay, thanks, Chris. Great show. Really enjoy your show. Happy 4th. Everybody keeps saying they're leaving, but the number of people watching is going up, so people must be tuning in late. Anyway, but yeah, I'm going to close out here in a second, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and I want to thank folks for the what's the maximum age? Gareth, in the U.S. Army, traditionally it's 34 years of age. I don't know the current actual age because they change it back and forth. But let me go back. I want to recognize people who've become members of Chris White Africa, and we've had a few do that on this stream. So let me recognize them very quickly. And also for the super chats. Brett gave a couple super chats tonight. Thank you, Brett. I really appreciate that. Gave a really cool super chat there. So today we have gained new members in Stella Mons. Stella became the first to join on this stream, quickly followed by Marius Krukamp and Erica, all of whom have been with the channel for a while as good subscribers. Thank you for that. But also thank you now for becoming members. That takes us up to 62 members of Chris White Africa in just 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that. Again, it's not about making money. Trust me, it's not. I'll tell you straight up front, I've made like $50, $60 from memberships. And if you'd all were American members, that would be a few $100s. But because people in Africa are paying a different rate, in South Africa particularly, you're paying much less than American memberships, it doesn't come anywhere near that. Anyway, the point is that it gives people a chance to be part of a community, and I'll do some special things for members. For those members who have already been on, you know that I also post photographs, unique photographs. I've done videos specifically only for members. So that's one of the features. But also there'll be a special live stream for members and then a strategic video that's just for the highest level membership. And it's just a handful of people. So you really get to have some input on what sort of topic you like to have covered. Those will be coming up soon. So thank you for becoming members. But people don't have to become members. All I ask you to become a subscriber. Please be a subscriber. That's absolutely free. Not 1 shekel. Not 1 rand, not $1, not 1 cent. You can become a subscriber. And let's help push this community up to higher numbers. We're already at 4,000 in just a couple of months. Thank you so much for that, folks. And I have a question over here from Kung Fu Kenny. Let me get over and see. How do other South Africans donate when I get this text saying this feature isn't available in your area? What do you mean by donate, Kenny? Do you mean with super chats or to become a member? Because it is available in South Africa. If it says it's not available to you, it might be because of the device you're using. On mobile phones, I know that I can't super chat on my mobile. It doesn't let me do that. It also doesn't let me use the @ sign and bring up people's names automatically. So I have to do it manually, type their names in. So yeah, that's, or you could use a VPN. Yes. If you want to contribute to the channel with super chats, you can do it on a PC or a laptop normally. If you have to go through a virtual private network, maybe that's the case. But yeah, so if you want to do super chats, that's the way to do it. But like I say, when I use my mobile, it won't let me put in a super chat. I have to be on the PC. It's a security measure to protect you. So I don't mind them actually doing that. I don't have a Zapper or something like that, or maybe I should put PayPal up or something like that for people who want to do that. But thank you for the thought, those who want to contribute. And Tian says, as a courtesy, do veterans still address each other by the rank? Yeah, well, it depends, not Gareth. Tian. So a lot of people who've worked for me, like you saw Tom was on here, Tom Hara, the Japanese American who's older than me, but he was an officer, then went back to being enlisted, and he retired as an enlisted soldier, but he actually retired with his highest rank as an officer, but in his last position as enlisted. And Tom calls me sir all the time, just out of respect because I was a full colonel, and he worked for me when I was a lieutenant colonel. So yeah, the courtesies continue afterwards, and it's just a custom. What people lose sight of is you're not being courteous to the person, although you might be because you feel endeared, the person is dear to you. You're being courteous to the rank and to the structure and to the discipline of the force. That's what it's all about. So you'll hear me with the general come on. I'll address him as sir. He's not my general. He's a South African general, but I will show him that respect, as I did the Nigerian and Liberian, and well, there are Liberian generals now, but Botswana generals, to show a sign of respect. It's just that's what we do as professionals. Now, that doesn't mean I won't call him by his first name. It's possible I might call him by his first name, but it just depends whether I'm comfortable or not with it. So if you want to see if I'm comfortable or not calling Major General Johan tomorrow, you're going to have to tune in and see if I do that. But yeah, we do still do that. Do we just mail you our mobiles? I don't want your mobiles. That's funny. That's funny. Linda says, thanks for the great chat as usual. Sleep tight. Well, thank you so much, Linda. It'll be closer nighttime for you than it is for me. Anyway, so that was members, and there were some super chats. I think they were all from Brett, so let me get to that very quickly. Super chats in this session. Yeah, we had Brett gave a $10 super chat. Wanted to announce that the Chop Chaz area in Seattle is over. Thank you so much for that, Brett. Really appreciate it. Then he followed up with a $2 super chat saying the U.S. needs to stand by India, a key U.S. ally. And I agree very strongly with what he said. So thank you for the super chats, Brett. Really do appreciate it. All right, folks, where are we at as we get ready to close out here? That's it. Let me see how many people. Oh, by the way, Evans Larrabee, the small-scale commercial farmer from Ghana, will likely be in my channel again. The reason I mention that is I'm looking, my LinkedIn is flashing saying I have a message from him. We've gained a few members while we're online today, or subscribers, not just members. We gained subscribers. We're now at 4,165 subscribers. That's awesome. Let me see what Evans has got to say, and maybe, oh, come on, the message is not working now. Here we go. Just before I go, I'll let you know what's going on with that because Evans wants to come back on the channel. He said he's got some projects going on. Field planning and attending the, what's that? What happened? Christo donated 143 super chat. Oh my. Thanks, Chris. A bit late, but we'll listen to the whole stream. Well, Christo, thank you so much for that super chat. I love to see the zombie climbing the Mahalisburg. That's why I keep the picture up there, guys. It's really cool to see that happen. But back to Evans. Hi, man. Been very busy. I'm on the field planting and attending farm projects. Have a huge dairy, cattle, fishing, farming. Currently, wow. Okay, so that's Evans Larrabee. So Evans will be back on the program sometime soon. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Evans is a small-scale commercial farmer from Ghana who was one of my first guests on the program. We had him on here a couple months ago. So he'll be back on the program sometime soon talking about developments with farming in Ghana. Maybe a Saturday program, maybe a special feature since I've already had him on a Saturday program. Anyway, so yeah, Christo, thank you so much for that super chat. Tossing that 140 rand this way. Really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Let me just get the last of the chat comments before I don't want to. One last thing, I think you guys appreciate this, is that I try to make sure I give everybody a little bit of attention here, and we cover things. Stevie said, thanks. You're welcome. Tian saying, Kenny, on PC, you must have a credit card linked to your Google account, then super chat. There you go. That's exactly right, but it won't work on a mobile. Thank you so much for that. Clarifying that. That is correct. And South Africans not key allies. What if they close the Suez? You'll need us again. Okay, Gareth, maybe. We'll see. And Krista says you're welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, I will close out the stream tonight with Giselle Pleke in die Sonne. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Stay warm in Southern Africa, where it is the dead of winter. I hope you can stay warm there. And understand that I'm envious of you as I sit here in 30-plus degrees Celsius temperatures with 80 to 90% humidity, and I melt like an egg on pavement. Anyway, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. God bless everybody. Be safe and take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and don't let them take things from you. Oh. And in the spirit of Big Daddy Liberty, never trust a commie.